Have your sports curiosity cured.
Puck behind Vasilevsky. It's up for Cirelli. He keeps it moving, but turn it over. Slavkovsky. And he comes. Uri Slavkovsky. Centering feed. Score! Tap job. 47 and counting for Cole Caulfield.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
The Bryson pressure. Stolen. Bertuzzi. Cuts in front of the back end. Scores! What a goal! Tyler Bertuzzi, and the Hawks back with a one.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
He just becomes so much more dangerous. Here's a chance.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Saul 637, Wednesday, April the 1st. Ooh, April the 1st. Oilers with a big win last night, a shutout over the Seattle Kraken for their fourth victory in a row. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440, presented by Sports Select on your AM radio dial, on your morning drive, or wherever you are heading out on a Wednesday morning. So glad you could spend some time with us here on Sports 1440. You can also watch us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We would appreciate that. And we're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. You can text us at 833-401-1440. Get them in. We'll get them on. As always, we're streaming on the many platforms that are out there on iHeart, TuneIn app, even sports1440.ca. If you miss any part of any show, go to where all the podcasts hang out. You can find them there on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Please subscribe. That's free, and select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of the show. Yeah, so glad you're with us on a Wednesday morning, April the 1st. Don't get duped today. The Oilers did not get duped last night. They beat Seattle 3-0. Now 2 points back of Anaheim for the Pacific Division lead and their fourth straight win in a row, thanks in part to the birthday boy, Connor Ingram. Turned 29 yesterday. 27 saves, his ninth career shutout. The penalty kill was really good for the Oilers, a big difference in the success of the team. But also, you know, the fourth and third line, those two lines were really good. Max Jones, in his 300th game, scored what was the game-winning goal, a shot that sort of went off his shoulder area. And that was the game-winning goal on a shot from the point by Wallman, and it was a good on him to scoot over and get the lane, as Jake Wallman found the lane and got it to the net, and it goes off the shoulder, and that turns out to be the game winner. Kasperi Kapanen added another one, so the third line chips in with the goal. Curtis Lazar had a really good game, I thought. Was physical, won some key face-offs, so the third and fourth lines helped the Oilers to a 3-0 victory last night. They didn't give up much at all in the first period. Seattle had two shifts late in the first period that had some sustained pressure, but nothing like high danger chances or anything like that. And once again, it's the commitment to defense. It's engaging. It's being responsible. It's awareness where your man is, where your zone is in the defensive zone. And we saw that again last night. Block shots, 16. Defense had a whole boatload out of them. And the minutes that were spread out. How often have we seen, in this case, the second defense pairing in Nurse and Murphy, who were really good again last night, play more, have more minutes, more time on ice than Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. And that was the case last night, where Nurse and Murphy were called upon, and yeah, there was some penalty killing to do. The Oilers were 3 for 3, and they only had the one-man advantage. That's, that knocks down the Bouchard minutes for sure. But Nurse and Murphy were really good. And then, to be honest with you, the third pair, Emberson and Jake Wallman, 16, 17 minutes there. So the minutes allotted for the three pairs were really balanced, very balanced last night. We were talking to JT Brown, and I talked to him in the press box last night, Seattle Kraken color analyst. And what did he say yesterday? The Kraken, for whatever reason, just seemed to, dip their toe in the water to start games. And that's what we saw yesterday. It's 2-0 for the Oilers after the first period. And you didn't see much from Seattle in the opening 20. But they were the better team. They were marginally the better team in the second period, where they had some opportunities, where they had some zone time and some pressure. Nothing crazy, dangerous chances, though. But they were the better team in the second period. The Oilers came on in the last, 5-6 minutes or so. Connor McDavid to Matthias Ekholm. I think it just grazed the bar. And then the Oilers had a very huge penalty kill at the end of the second period, because, you go into the room 2-1 or 2-0, massive difference. And in the third, there really wasn't a whole hell of a lot generated by the Oilers, and nothing exceptionally dangerous by Seattle. Another successful penalty kill by the Oilers, and the Oilers go 15-4 all time against Seattle. And this year, the Kraken were shut out twice in Edmonton. And hey, this ain't an April Fool's joke, but if you were to be told at the beginning of the year, not even at the beginning, you can go, yeah, sure, talk the beginning, first several weeks, that the three players that would be requested by the media following a 3-0 win would be Connor Ingram, Max Jones, Kasperi Kapanen. People would go, probably not. But you think about that, those were the three guys that were, 2 goal scorers and the shutout. Again, 29 saves for Connor Ingram. And you're seeing more and more of Connor Ingram's personality being brought out, whether it be post-game, practice, scrums, things like that. And that's because things are going well. I mean, when things are going well, you have the ability to have a chuckle, to have a laugh, to talk about your brother throwing you into the fireplace or the fridge or whatever, and things like that. And then last night, some comments like, did I really do anything? No. Well, we'll hear from Connor Ingram a bit later in the show. 7:08 in Edmonton. Let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne before we take a tour around the NHL with some wild scores and some teams that spit the bit out, too, in the East. But good morning, Duke.
Good morning, Kev.
Did you have a nice, relaxing night?
I sure did.
Now that your hockey career is over,
yeah.
for
Now that
year?
I'm hanging them up for the spring, fully dedicating myself. So much so they got the Tropics slow pitch team registered last night. So
Really?
I'm moving.
So
moving forward. Kev.
Is it the same guys?
A lot? Yeah, like it's less guys because we got a few wives and significant others playing since it's a co-ed league.
Co-ed league.
There's a dozen or so of us that wanted to get together and continue our friendship.
Well, I certainly hope some dude doesn't email in.
Well, yeah, that's apparently now a big risk, I suppose.
Saying the Duke, argued a call, got thrown out or whatever.
I got some good positive feedback from my own teammates yesterday after that live reading that you sprung on me. So that was encouraging. At least I know my teammates had my back, even if my opponents.
Did you figure out, who exactly it was? Or no?
No, not exactly, but listen, it's a pretty good laugh. It's not lost on me that's obviously a listener that want to take a little jab, and that's funny. Hey, fair and square, Admirals. Good luck the rest of the way.
I bet he's laughing. Hey?
How could you not be?
In case you
probably listening, got that clip and sent it to everybody in their own team's group chat. It's
in
funny.
Case you missed it yesterday, the Duke got an email regarding a coincidental minor penalty that cost his team the game series. So.
But no, it was a very relaxing night watching some Blue Jays baseball.
Yeah.
Kind of getting the chance to sit down and take in a win for the first time this season. What can you say about Max Scherzer? First start is another season under his belt. Very encouraging sign there. And then it's flowing right into the Oilers game, obviously, where it wasn't the most riveting game, but I thought a very textbook performance by Edmonton that just kind of continues to build on this momentum they've had going for the past week and a half.
Yeah, and they have got an opportunity to make it 5 in a row over Chicago tomorrow. Chicago lost to the Jets last night, Duke, in overtime. Jets are now just a point back.
Look out.
Of a playoff spot. in the Western Conference. But, you're talking about all the teams that spit the bit out. Islanders, Ottawa, Detroit, Philly, and Columbus all lose. Such a critical part of the season. And all of them lose. And, Boston won, so Bruins get a little bit of a cushion. There was a goaltender fight between Shesterkin and Markstrom. That's the third goalie fight this year. There have been 14 previous years, Duke, with only 2 goaltender fights. So they had 3 this last year, 2 in the previous 14 years. So kind of a big deal there. Hey, we'll bust down all the Eastern Conference and things with Chris Meany from NHL.com in our first segment coming up after the break. Really disappointing night for the Edmonton Oil Kings. They go into Saskatoon for Game 3 of their Western Hockey League series. They're up 3-1 and then cough up 3 goals and lose 4-3. 2 goals in the third period. So Jason Smith, head coach of the Edmonton Oil Kings, will not be happy about that. They get right back at it tonight for game number 4. So need a win. Got to lock this series up at 2 apiece before heading back to Edmonton for Friday in game number 5. So critical game tonight for the Edmonton Oil Kings. They got to get it done in Toontown. The Duke mentioned the Toronto Blue Jays. Big, massive win over Colorado. Nah, just kidding. But after what happened the night prior where they were blown out 14-5, the Duke mentioned Max Scherzer. 6 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, 1 walk, and just the 1 earning. 5-1 the final over Colorado. The Raptors, well, they can't beat anybody that is anything worth their salt, are they? They lose to Detroit 127-116. We'll bust this down over the course of the morning with our resident basketball expert, Josh Fenwick. They are 1-9 against the top 3 teams in the East. Just not good enough. They're a good team, but they're not good enough to tackle these higher end teams in the East or the West, for that matter. I was just watching the highlights of Italy and Bosnia-Herzegovina for World Cup qualifying, and BH beats Italy in penalty kicks 4-1. So that means that's going to be Bosnia-Herzegovina against Canada June 12th. This is you think about how, I'm not saying that soccer's not passionate in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but in Italy, sometimes it's like life or death. Little Italy in town here would have been just going bananas yesterday with that loss. So that means Italy's out, and that's a massive, massive upset. And then on the world stage 2, Canada beat Sweden 10-3. Matt Dunstone over Nicholas Edin at the World Curling Championships in Utah. No rock calls by Edin and the Swiss in that one. Text 833-401-1440. New Sarepta Troy says, hey, KK, I've been loving Ty Emberson's game. That decor started to settle in and look way more comfortable, more confident since he's been back. Deserves a ton of credit, New Sarepta Troy. Well, good point, Troy. The other thing, too, you think when Connor Murphy came in here and how he's settled Darnell Nurse down, and that's helped because, again, as we mentioned, the minutes between the pairings last night, 23-12 for Nurse. He led the way. Murphy's at 22-08. Evan Bouchard gets sort of a night off from playing 26, 27, 28. He's at 21-18. And Matthias Ekholm at 18.5. You were talking about Emberson, and he has, you could kind of say, or you can sort of say, and you can say, he's settled down Jake Wallman, who still had a couple of giveaways yesterday. But, Emberson has been really good. Led the decor with 5 hits last night. And you're right, since he's come back, it's afforded the Oilers to be, righty-lefty with all pairings. And it puts, Stastny as the number 7 right now. And, for the last few seasons, this decor has stayed healthy. And they'll need it to stay healthy moving forward. But each pair, we've known what Bouchard and Ekholm can do. And Ekholm was good last night again. And Bouchard made some great passes again. Wow. Ekholm just got caught that one time where he was just just standing still. Had to take an interference penalty, but that negated a 2-on-1. So it was a pretty good penalty to take. But each pairing now has an identity. Murphy and Nurse are blocking shots, 7 between the two of them. They're on the PK, obviously. They are a shutdown pair. Wallman and Emberson are turning into a really good third pairing here. And everyone knows what Bouchard and Ekholm bring. So you're right on the text, and we'll get to more of them, 833-401-1440, as the morning progresses. Coming up on the big program, as mentioned, we'll have Chris Meany from NHL.com to lead things off. We'll discuss the Eastern playoff push for several teams. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet will check in at 8 bells. We got Jonathan Von Tobel from Money Moves on VSiN Live. We'll preview the NCAA Final Four, talk a little NBA maybe as well with JVT as well. Hey, we just left in the dust by our co-host this week. Eddie Steele can't come in tomorrow to fill in for Laddie because we're off on Friday. David Schlemko is in Palm Springs golfing. So it's just the Duke and I and Josh Fenwick today. That means we got Cam and Eggs, and I saw Cam Tate early in the right before the game started yesterday. He said he's got a whiz-bang edition of Cam and Eggs coming up at about 9 o'clock. Zach Lang from Oilers Nation will check in at 10. And then Sohan Nolan from the Hockey News covers the Philadelphia Flyers. They lost a critical game last night to Washington. That'll be in the 10 o'clock hour. When we come back, Chris Meany from NHL.com. It's the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We are streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. And the show is presented by Sports Select.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Time for a new career in 2026? Or maybe your kid is still pondering their path. Good news! Weiss Johnson is hiring. Hi, it's Dennis, and not only are we hiring for heating and air conditioning, we're also looking for experienced plumbers and gas fitters. With the growth in residential development, there's no shortage of opportunities at Weiss Johnson. Choose your path with us. Learn from one of the industry leaders, and we will grow together. Receive great benefits and school reimbursement as well. Visit weiss-johnson.com today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 7:21 in Edmonton, and time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. At Fountain Tire, we can meet all your car needs and more with our digital vehicle report. We just don't tell you what your car needs, we show you. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com today as we welcome back Chris Meany from NHL.com. Good morning, Chris. You're with Kevin Karius once again. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 once again. Really appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Always appreciate the invite. I was thinking about you last week. I was watching the Oilers and the Golden Knights, and I was like, I wonder if I'm going to join Kevin again before the puck drops on the playoffs.
Absolutely, Chris. Well, I was just thinking with that intro song, being a Nova Scotia guy, have you seen Great Big Sea a few times? Or?
Of course, yes. I've seen them in Nova Scotia and Halifax. Geez, It was years ago, and also in Newfoundland, in George Street. They shut down the street, and it's a heck of a time.
Hey, Alan Doyle, he's a pretty big deal out there, isn't he?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, he is a big deal, and it's proud moments, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's a big hockey guy too.
Yeah, he's a huge hockey guy. Yeah, I used to work at a radio station back in the day, 89.3 K-Rock, and he was actually on one time, and he was just sharing hockey stories. So he's a big sports guy and loves his hockey.
Is he a Leafs fan?
I think he is, yeah. Leafs, he gave a little bit of love to the Leafs, and I thought the Bruins as well, which is odd sometimes when you hear that with the original six and division rivals, but he just loves hockey.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of Bruins fans out there on the coast, correct?
There are a ton of Bruins fans on the East Coast, of course. Like there's a little bit of a connection from Nova Scotia and Boston, and Rick Middleton I interviewed a long time ago. And his roots are from this area as well, and a Boston guy. So yeah, the Leafs and the Canadians are certainly popular, but the Bruins are right there with those two teams.
Old nifty Rick Middleton, huh?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, really good, and he could score. He was a really smooth player. Chris Meany from NHL.com, our guest in the Kevin Carey Show here in Sports 1440. I just kind of wanted to focus on the Eastern Conference to start things off here, Chris. And just watching last night, I was saying so many teams spit the bit out with, 5 teams losing games where they needed wins, and especially at this time of the year. What do you make of this race coming down the stretch here in the East?
Yeah, it was a tough go for a lot of teams last night, and the Blue Jackets have kind of struggled of late. Lucky for them, not to get the win. I mean, the other night they were up 3-0, I believe, against the Bruins, and up late in the third period, and Boston came back and took the 2 points. Columbus did get a point, but then last night I thought they kind of got manhandled a little bit by the Carolina Hurricanes. But lucky for them, as you mentioned, a lot of the teams that are fighting with them didn't pick up wins. I mean, the Philadelphia Flyers are right there, which is a remarkable story right now. What Rick Tocchet has done to that squad. The Ottawa Senators and then the Detroit Red Wings, those are tough losses for those teams. So when I look at the Eastern Conference right now, I feel like there's probably a third spot available in the Metro. I really like where the Penguins are at. Offensively, they can score with the best of them, which is pretty surprising. Anthony Mantha leads that team in goals, 30. And then you have the Bruins, who have won 7 of their last 10. They've won 4 straight. It looks like they're in at 94 points, just 2 points back of the Canadians, who have won 6 straight, third in the Atlantic. So I feel like there's either Columbus, the Islanders, potentially Philadelphia, clinging to maybe that third spot in the Metro. Maybe one of them could get also a wild card spot. And it really only leaves Ottawa and Detroit as the 2 teams in the Atlantic to fight. And I really don't like where either of those teams are at. And the Detroit Red Wings, at the deadline, they didn't bring anything in offensively. They did get Justin Falk, but I'm sure they didn't expect to lose Andrew Kopp and Dylan Larkin. Both guys are back now, but they missed significant time. Their schedule is very difficult the rest of the way. They're not getting 5-5 offense. And then the Ottawa Senators losing Jake Sanderson and then Thomas Chabot. I mean, you lose your 2 top defensemen, and Sanderson is a horse on the blue line, logs a lot of ice time, checks a lot of boxes in terms of edge stats. So if I had to choose, I think what we see is what we're going to get, to be honest with you. I would love to see maybe the Flyers squeak in. Again, a good story. But I think right now, especially with Boston, the Canadians rolling right now, Montreal is extremely impressive to me. But yeah, it should still be a pretty fun race the rest of the way. But Detroit's got a tough schedule.
Yeah. Chris Meany with us on Sports 1440. Is it all Thomas and Chabot in Ottawa? I don't think I've ever seen Travis Green looked so frustrated on the bench after last night's game, during last night's game when they were getting blown out in Florida.
Yeah, and Florida's resting a lot of players, right? The Panthers have been without a lot of their key players for quite some time, and I know they got Sam Bennett back last night, but it's really been the same old story for the Ottawa Senators, and it's been in goal. I don't want to be too hard on Linus Ullmark, but he has to be better. When I look at Ottawa overall at 5-5, they're one of the best 5-5 teams in the NHL. They really are. They don't give up a whole lot in terms of high danger chances, scoring chances, shot attempts against. I think they've given up the fewest shots overall per game the last time I checked, and they're a pretty stingy 5-5 team. But when Travis Green's frustrated, of course, again, he loses his top defenseman, then Shabbat takes all that ice time, and then he fractures his wrist on the JT Miller play just a couple games after Sanderson goes down. So you lose your top two guys. They had to call up Yakimchuk, who is a nice young defenseman, but he's just a rookie, so it's a tough spot for him as well. Jordan Spence is logging more ice time than he ever has. Is a second pair, third pair for his whole career. So it's really tough sledding for Ottawa. I do think if they could find a way to get in and they get Sanderson back, they would be a tough out because of the way that they play 5-5 hockey. But again, you lose your top two defensemen. It's just tough.
How much damage do you think the Montreal Canadiens can do here? They're going to make the playoffs. They got a shot at the Atlantic Division title here yet.
They do.
Yeah. What do you think of their, how the team's put together? And with goaltending was always a big question mark. But what do you think about the Habs here moving forward?
Extremely impressive. Like, they really are. They play with a ton of pace, a lot of speed. They have the best young core in the NHL. There's no question about that. And you have Nick Suzuki, who's flirting with 100 points, is most likely going to win the Selke. I think there's only a couple guys that have won the Selke and hit the century mark in terms of points. You have Cole Caulfield just scratching the surface of his prime at 25 years old, flirting with 50 goals, none of them empty net goals. You have Lane Hudson, who is already a top 5 defenseman in my opinion, and just in his second year broke a record. I think a couple weeks ago, past Zubov, of like the most. I think it was like 120 assists in 150 some odd games, like the fastest for a young defenseman. And then you add in Juraj Slafkovský, the breakout. We all saw him in the Olympics for Slovakia, taking his team on his back, and he's flirting with 30 goals. He's a true power forward. He fits in so well with Suzuki and Caulfield. So they have a dominant first line. And then you look at Demidov, who's a nice young rookie who could flirt with 65, 70 points when it's all said and done. So the Canadiens have a ton of pieces. Michael Hage is tearing it up for Michigan. They're in the Frozen Four, so they could get him, at the end of the season into the playoffs, just like we saw with Demidov last year and what we saw 2 years ago with Lane Hudson joining the team late. And, he led all world junior players in terms of points. He was phenomenal throughout that tournament. So they play with a ton of speed. They can score. They're near the top in the NHL in goals, near the top in the NHL in power play percentage. What you said is their Achilles heel, but now they're getting goaltending. And is it sustainable? They got 2 rookie goalies. Jacob Fowler is certainly the future there, but Dobish, first star of the week last week, was phenomenal again last night in Tampa. All of a sudden, it's 4 straight games where the Canadiens have allowed 1 goal. So they can play with anybody in the NHL. They showed it last week against the Hurricanes. I think they're a perfect 3-0 against them this season. They beat Tampa last night. So it's going to be tough. It looks like they'll probably play Tampa. Maybe they play Buffalo. I don't think that they'll get the division, but if they did, certainly that would be beneficial because the Bell Center is one of the toughest buildings to go in and win a hockey game come playoff time. So I'm a believer. They're certainly ahead of the curve, Kevin, in terms of their rebuild. But the young core is there. They're starting to play better defensively, and they got some guys in the back end that can score as well, and Matheson and Dobson outside of Hudson. So it's a really strong hockey team right now, and they're playing their best hockey of the season at the best time.
Chris Meany from NHL.com with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. When you mentioned Jacob Dobish, remember, Chris, a few months ago, he had a really emotional post-game media scrum, and everyone was kind of going, whoa, like, you got to just chikai a little bit here, big guy, because you're getting too emotional over just a little loss here. Do you think he had some help, on the mental aspect here to help him bring it together?
I think so. Yeah. He is certainly a very emotional guy. Even when you watch him play, he's very fiery. He was, back and forth with the refs a couple times last night with guys in front of his crease. I've seen him throw his body before in the corner. He is a very emotional guy. And yeah, that happened, I think, at the start of the season. I believe he was off to a great start. He may have started 5-0, 6-0. And then a tough loss, I think, late in the third, and lost in overtime, let in a goal he probably wanted to have back. And yeah, he was very emotional in the scrum, some tears, but I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think there's certainly some leadership. The Canadians are the second youngest team in the NHL by average age, Chicago the youngest, but there's a lot of leadership still on that squad, like Brendan Gallagher. They bring in Philip Deneau, who's helped the penalty kill out a lot. He's been through it before. Both of those guys went to the Stanley Cup final and in that COVID season. And Martin St. Louis, of course, he's been through everything as an undrafted player and winning the Stanley Cup and has so much playoff experience. So I would imagine a couple guys, talk to him a little bit. And I saw last week when he was named first star and they were interviewing him on the ice after a phenomenal win, he had nearly tears in his eyes as well. So it's both sides of it. And I think that's what's so good about this Canadians team is they really have gelled together. They're again, you bring in Dobson, 26 years old, Suzuki, 26. A lot of these guys are similar age, and they certainly care for one another.
Mm-hmm. Chris Meany with us on Sports 1440. I respect the hell out of you, Chris, because you watch so many West Coast games still, and you watch the Oilers, and you talk about the Oilers a lot. What have you seen from the Oilers here? They've got 4 wins in a row. It seems to be coming together. What are your edge stats telling you too, as well, about this team lately?
What I've been really impressed with, it's almost like they flipped that switch. I don't know if it was McDavid's comments after the Tampa Bay loss, or maybe losing Leon Draisaitl, other guys having to step up a little bit. I know the last time we chatted, we talked about the addition of Tristan Jarry, and we wondered, if that was a move that would bring them over the top. But Connor Ingram has taken over that net right now with the shutout last night. And I looked at their 5-5 numbers this morning since the NHL return February 25th after the Olympic break. And only the Philadelphia Flyers have allowed fewer high danger chances at 5-5 per 60 than the Edmonton Oilers. They have the third lowest expected goals against rate. We know that they can score. We know that they can bring it offensively. The power play is lethal. They're led by 2 superstars. And but defensively, I feel like they've just kind of clamped down a little bit. Their 5-5 game is very, very nice at the moment. And they're getting good goaltending, timely goaltending. So I'm really impressed with where Edmonton is at. I think certainly the division is within reach. I'm looking at the Ducks schedule, and the only team remaining for them that's in a playoff spot is Minnesota, but they've really struggled over the past few weeks. They got San Jose tonight without Cutter Gauthier tonight, which is a huge loss for them. St. Louis, Calgary, Nashville, San Jose again, Vancouver, Minnesota, and Nashville again. So the Preds are fighting. It's going to be a tough couple games against the Preds, and the Oilers could probably put Vegas in their rear view if they beat them again in a couple nights. But I look at their schedule, they have Vegas and Utah and LA and Colorado to wrap. But again, for them, I think it's just getting their game right at the right time. They could play anybody, and I know they're confident to play anybody and wherever. It does. I don't think it really matters, but I've really noticed defensively they're bringing it. And in terms of edge stats, we talk about McDavid, and he leads all players in total miles skated. So he's a horse when it comes to skating distance. All of a sudden, Zach Hyman is first in the NHL in high danger shots. He's got 111, and he's missed time this season. He's always been a beast in terms of that area. Connor McDavid's got 1 fewer than him, tied with Thomas Hertl for second. And you look at high danger goals, and Hyman is right there as well. He's 4th in the NHL with 24. Tyler Bertuzzi leads with 28. Wyatt Johnson, 27. Jake Gensel, 26. And Connor McDavid is tied for 5th with Anthony Mantha, who I mentioned earlier, 23. So those two guys are getting to the high danger areas. Skating speed burst, McDavid is still dominating. 22 plus mile an hour speed burst. He's got 135. Owen Tippett is second with 52. Wow. 52. And then when you look at 20 plus, he's got over 600, and McKinnon is next with roughly 200 fewer than him. So he's still dominating. He's logging a lot of ice time. Those speed bursts are there. And you know what? Matt Savoy, we talked about Matt Savoy last time. He's a guy that's playing with a lot of confidence as well. lately getting to those high danger areas. I know he didn't pick up a point last night, but again, since the Olympic break, heading into last night, I think he was tied for third in points among rookies. He was maybe fifth in goals. I think he's had 4+ shots in maybe 4 of his past 6. So 2 nights ago, 22 minutes, that was a career high for him, right? So he's a new role for him, playing alongside McDavid, playing up on that top power play. Maybe that's something that they probably not the top power play, but maybe he plays a little bit with McDavid come playoff time when Leon Draisaitl's healthy, or they load up that top line with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Savoy lately. Sometimes it takes a little bit for these rookies, right? It's we're seeing some of them, Martone and Frondell, come in and have success early, but sometimes it does take a little bit of time, and McDavid's kind of taken him under his wing. But yeah, the defensive 5-and-5 style from Edmonton is what I like to see, and it's on point right now.
Chris Meany, NHL.com, with us on Sports 1440. Regarding McDavid, and we noticed this in the press box last night, Chris, and then actually a text came in from Big Daddy talking about McDavid between whistles or TV timeout coming out for his skate. I think, he had that maintenance day earlier, about a week and a half ago. Have you noticed anything edge stats-wise as far as speed bursts go or miles skated, etc., in the last couple of weeks? Has it gone down at all by your data?
I haven't noticed anything alarming. When if you go to his edge page, you can see like the last couple of games, like last night, 3.37 miles skated. That is actually his second lowest mark in the last 10 games. 3.86, 3.96, 3.6. Had one against Tampa Bay where that was 4.15. I think he was on the ice quite a bit there, and 4.25, 4.3. One against the Blues at 4.87. So maybe a little bit in terms of just the total distance that he's played, but his speed bursts are still there, living on average in the 23 range, which is again just so remarkable to see from him. So I nothing really jumping off the page, and you wonder again as soon as they clinch. I know we talked about the pillow fight. Nobody's really pushing the Oilers at the moment, scaring them to get out of that top 3 in the Pacific. Vegas' style of play has been great this year, but when you're dead last in 5-and-5 save percentage and you're near the bottom in 5-and-5 shooting percentage over the last 6 or 7 weeks, the old saying, right? Show me a good goalie, I'll show you a good coach. I think Cassidy got the wrong end of the stick there, but Torts could clean them up maybe a little bit defensively and give them a spark. But ultimately, I think, the Oilers are in a good spot, and maybe once they clinch, you could see potentially him with a day or 2 rest. I'm not sure the status of Leon Draisaitl, maybe know a little bit more, but I don't know if he plays again the rest of the regular season. Maybe he gets in 1 or 2 games there, but it does sound like maybe he'll be good to go come playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays that last game against Vancouver on the 16th. Hey, one more just with the edge stats and all your data, Chris, in the sense of a long hard season and the grind and the wear and tear. And I mean, this right across the board when you look at players from across the league. Do you notice at the tail end of the regular season that the numbers might just drop off because it is such a grind for these guys?
Yeah, certainly, we do see a little bit of that, and we may see some more with potentially like teams that have already clinched, like Dallas or Colorado. Like I don't know if Cale Makar is a guy that's going to play a whole lot here. I don't know what the status of the shoulder injury is, but, it is certainly a long season to your point. And, especially with teams that are, I don't want to say checked out, but, they're not going to make the playoffs. You're giving other guys more ice time, like the Florida Panthers come to mind, right? They've just played so much hockey over the last 3 years. Paul Maurice has given some guys breaks and other guys that you normally see 18, 19 minutes a night. They're just not getting that type of ice time, but nothing really like alarming when it comes to top end talent and superstars. They're still doing their thing and trying to get right at the right time. I think sometimes I find there's a little bit of a lull midway through the season. Now we had the Olympic break, so that kind of rejuvenated some players that either had success or didn't go and needed some time off with the 3-week break. So that kind of helped them a little bit. But I feel like at this time of the season, once that calendar turns to April and, teams are looking like they're going to make the playoffs, there's a little bit of a giddy up in their step.
As always, Chris, incredible insight. Really enjoy our conversations. Good stuff. And I'm sure we'll talk right when the playoffs get going to maybe bust down some potential playoff matchups. As always, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. Keep up the good work. We'll talk soon. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Chris Meany, NHL.com. Check out his stuff, and all the guys like at NHL.com, when they get into the edge stats and they bust down so many different areas of where the players are performing, how they're performing, and what they're doing differently. It's a great analysis, and it's a good tool as well. That's the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And again, check them out at fountaintire.com to book an appointment. We care about one thing and one thing only. It is your vehicle. When we come back, I think we'll hear from the goaltender of record last night. 27 saves for his 9th career shutout, Connor Ingram. When we come back on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio, presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're the #1 dealer in the world. Just kidding. If we were, would you care? We're the #1 dealer in Canada. Still kidding. You probably still don't care. Tell you what you will care about, our March Madness sale going on right now. Discounts up to $30,000. And the grand opening of our Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No self-proclaimed titles, no iPads, no trips to Vegas or hockey jerseys, just a really good deal. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Bring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Tough loss tonight, Coach. What happened out there?
Well, we played like our goaltending was, and our defense was an absolute disaster. Okay, no more questions.
Somebody needs a filter. Good filtration makes a big difference. Napa Auto Parts annual spring filter event sale is on from April 7th to April 13th. Save on cabin, air, and oil filters to keep your vehicle running clean. Visit your participating Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the center bar. Plus, catch all the biggest games, every goal, every slam dunk. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 7:45 in Edmonton, the Kevin Karius Show is presented by Sports Select. It's so easy to play, and man, oh man, we got the QR code paper slip selection at your Lotto Spot retailer. Take your pick. We'll have NCAA playoffs to choose from in the Final Four, a lighter night in the NHL, but check it out at sportselect.com. You got to be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. And we are, 8 days away from the Masters, Duke? Are you getting excited about that? What do we got? The Valero Open.
A tradition unlike any other.
Yes, it is. You know, I briefly went through the Valero Open, the players that are entered in it. I don't know if I saw Corey Connors there. And that didn't make sense to me because he won that event a couple of years ago, right? And then he took the direct flight right to Augusta. Because we were talking about that with Danny Saul, remember, a couple of years ago? So I maybe I just passed over him, but I always just assumed that he would play in it. But when do you, we had that conversation yesterday about golf season in Edmonton. Some people feel like it's 2 weeks away. So, let's call it the 14th. The 15th. We'll give you the middle of the month. I don't see it happening.
I need especially when you look at the forecast, like the melt isn't going to be a rapid one, right? Because temperatures, we're still talking like just above zero for still another week.
And I don't know, when you're driving around or maybe even when you're driving home to Delburne, there's still lots of snow out there, man.
Oh yeah. Lots.
So nothing. Hey, I'd love to be golfing on the 15th. There's been times when we have golfed around the Masters here, but I just don't see it. I see it like we're talking 3 weeks minimum here. Oilers with a big victory last night, 3-0, fourth straight win. First time that's happened this year. They're 2 points back of Anaheim. The penalty kill was really good last night. The defense pairings, all three of them were really good. They limited, Seattle to virtually no high danger, nothing really, really crazy. Yeah, there were a couple where Ingram had to come up with some big saves. He was good on the PK, and he had some good saves in the third period. He is right now, if you said these are the numbers we're going with down the stretch and into the playoffs, you would take them 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. At 2.69 goals against average, he's got 14 wins, and his save percentage right now is at .898. So if he can, I think Tristan Jarry plays tomorrow against Chicago, but if Ingram can come back and have a solid game against the Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday, now his save percentage is touching that 900 mark, and that's damn good. And you think about where the goaltending was at the start of the year, where it is now, big difference. So following his 27 save shutout performance, the Oilers goaltender had these post-game comments.
Do you recall a birthday shutouts at any level, any point in your...
I was trying to think. It's funny you asked that. I was driving around today, and I remember playing a playoff game in Kelowna when I was still with Camels. I don't think it was a shutout, though, but I remember winning a game out there. I hated going there.
Did they sing happy birthday to you after the game?
No, thank God.
Cake?
No, not here. I think Sarah's got some cupcakes for me at home, though.
Oh,
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
I'm not much of a cupcake guy. I'm not an icing guy. Yeah, she brought home a cookie, and that's what I've been eyeing up all day. Yeah, a little mini egg cookie. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm gonna get into it.
So, I mean, how are you feeling there? You look pretty just comfortable. Just keep building on everything you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the more you play, the easier it's gonna get. I thought everybody in front of me did a great job today. I didn't really have to do much back there. Maybe that bad bounce on the PK that kicks out to the slot, but other than that, I thought everybody in front of me made my job really easy.
I wanted to ask you about that shot. It pops up, and you just seemed to look very confident, came out challenge, blocker save, kind of made it look a lot easier than maybe it was. Is that just when you're in a zone, everything, you feel very confident just to move, even on a broken play?
Yeah, Tolvi and I played together in Nashville and Milwaukee for a long time, so I've seen that shot several times before, which might give you a head up. I didn't know where it was going, but I've seen that guy shoot a puck a lot, so I think that was a big advantage for me. And then I was able to take a huge step out because I knew I had help coming, and at that point, it's just one-on-one. You got to win that.
I know you're primarily focused on your game, but you're sitting there watching. And this group seems to have really kind of dialed things in detail-wise defensively.
as the goaltender, what little things are you noticing that they're taking care of that maybe were a little looser before?
That's a good question. I try to stay in my own little paint down there, but no, I think, you know, a lot of pucks don't even get to me anymore. And then when they do, I think there's bodies and guys around helping out. And I think it's just the little things, you know, we put an emphasis on it coming back, and now it's just doing it. So I'm not a X's and O's guy that will give you a good answer for that. But I mean, for me, it seems like it's going well.
That's Connor Ingram following his shutout performance, second of the year, 9th career. And again, he's really solidified the Oilers' goaltending woes, and it has been hit and miss until he basically took over the number one job here. And that's a couple of weeks ago when he was anointed that by Chris Knobloch. So he has done the job back there. He's tracking the puck better than goaltenders that we've seen here in a while. And I mean, you can talk about when Stu Skinner was on or when he was off. Tristan Jarry this year, when he was on for a handful of games. Then even when he came back, if you watched him tracking the puck, it's not at the level of where Connor Ingram is right now. You have to credit the players in front of him. The defense they're doing two things. They're either getting the hell out of the way or they're blocking shots. And the same goes with the upper level of coverage as far as forwards going out to the point, et cetera, like that. But he is seeing the puck and he's tracking it. And he's not overextending himself. Like we saw Tristan Jarry when he came back and played that contest a few games ago. He's still over movement in the crease, like this sliding back and forth. Even if he did make a save, you know, in that game, and he allowed the one crazy goal that went off Nurse and Murphy, then it was the power play goal that was off the end boards in Jarry. Still, you know, when he's tracking the puck, he's not economical in the crease yet. So that's something that I think still has to be worked on. And maybe we'll see it tomorrow against Chicago if he does indeed get the start. But Connor Ingram has really settled down, and it's a hell of a story when you think about where he was at the beginning of the year. And if the Oilers have any kind of playoff success with Ingram, that could be one of the biggest trades that could go down in team history, because, you know, basically you got him for nothing, and the team you got him from, you know, ate some salary too. So full marks to Connor Ingram on his birthday, and he comes up with a massive performance. We were talking about the Winnipeg Jets, and I just wanted to mention this before we get to break and Mark Spector. Back on the day, January 20th, the Winnipeg Jets, January 22nd or 3rd, they were second last in the Western Conference. Second last. So you got to think about all the teams. And they were never going to get to last because Vancouver's had that wrapped up all year. But if you think about it, where Winnipeg's come from in this amount of time, and especially down the stretch here, where they are 1 point out of a playoff spot. Can they make the playoffs? They still got a lot of work to do. The schedule is there. They have to continue and I mean, you last night they beat Chicago 4-3 in overtime. They're up 3-1. You should be able to lock that down in Chicago. They got a young team. Chicago in a couple of years is going to be dynamite, JJ. But here's a team right now in Winnipeg that I think if you are looking in the rearview mirror because of Connor Hellebuck, because of winning the President's Trophy last year, there are players, and that is a team that you're going, keep your eyes on these guys. Coming up at the top of the hour, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Also in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll have Jonathan Von Tobel, JVT from Money Moves on VSiN Live. We'll bust down the March Madness Final Four. Zach Lang from Oilers Nation. We'll check in at 9:20. We'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne. It's in or out Duke and KK extravaganza this week. And then coming up at 10:20, we'll head out to Philadelphia and check in with Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News. and get her take on the Flyers. And, they had a push here too. That's a loss last night, and now Washington's just a point back of them in the Eastern Conference standings. So all that and Cam and Eggs coming up on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. When we come back, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers victorious last night, 3-0 winners over at the Seattle Kraken. Connor Ingram making 27 saves for his second shutout of the season. Max Jones netting the game winner. Around the rest of the NHL, 9 other games, including the Bruins doubling up the Stars 6-3. Sabres get past the Islanders 4-3. Cole Caulfield, that's his 47th of the year, and the Habs 4-1 win over Tampa Bay. Senators fall to the Panthers 6-3. Penguins over the Red Wings 5-1. Alex Ovechkin hits 30 goals for the 20th time as the Caps beat the Flyers 6-4. Canes over the Jackets 5-2, and the Winnipeg Jets pick up a big 2 points, 4-3 overtime winners over the Chicago Blackhawks. Tough result for the Edmonton Oil Kings out in Saskatoon last night. They blow a 3-1 lead to fall 4-3 and now go down 2-1 in their first-round series against the Blades. And in the association, the Raptors continue to struggle against top teams, losing to Detroit 127-116. In the majors, Blue Jays bounce back with a win over Colorado, 5-1 the final. Max Scherzer giving up just 1 run over 6 innings to pick up the win. Elsewhere, Rangers beat the Orioles 8-5. The Phillies, they beat the Nationals 3-2. Rays lose to the Brewers 6-2. Astros over the Red Sox 9-2. And the New York Yankees, they blanked the Mariners 5-0. Finally, Canada in a tune-up ahead of the World Cup getting underway. They go to a scoreless draw against Tunisia. However, Bosnia and Herzegovina, they beat Italy, and they will be the final team entered into the World Cup playing in Canada's group. Coming up in hour 2 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector, as well as Jonathan Van Tobel from Money Moves covering the Final Four. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're the #1 dealer in the world. Just kidding. If we were, would you care? We're the #1 dealer in Canada. Still kidding. You probably still don't care. Tell you what you will care about, our March Madness sale going on right now. Discounts up to $30,000. And the grand opening of our Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No self-proclaimed titles, no iPads, no trips to Vegas or hockey jerseys, just a really good deal. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
The longest-running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
This summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:01 in Edmonton. So glad you're with us on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick for Wednesday morning here. Kind of a shorter work week for sure, with I think most people off on Friday for Good Friday. So we'll close out the work week tomorrow with our final show of the week. Time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness is finally here. And you know what? March Madness is no joke. No giveaways, no phony prizes, just a good old-fashioned deal. See more at northgategm.com as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
Morning, Kev. How you doing, man?
Second best day of my life, baby.
Second best day?
Yeah.
So what's the first day?
Hasn't happened yet.
Oh, you're one of those people. Always waiting for more. Never quite satisfied with what you have.
You fell for the banana in the tailpipe again, Spec. Hey, you know what? Let me just ask you this. And it's obviously April 1st today. Might have thought it would have been a joke if you said, I don't know, at the beginning of the year that for media requests after a victory down the stretch run here with your playoff lives, in the balance, maybe not so much now as it was a week and a half ago, that the media would request Max Jones, Connor Ingram, and Kasperi Kapanen for their media availabilities after a win. You'd kind of go, are you sure?
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, that's kind of was the theme of what I wrote is like, we always knew the top six around here is never an issue. You got good top six players, all these guys that score lots. Power play always carries you, one out of every 3-4 games. But the issues in Edmonton have always been like your bottom six needs some identity. They got to help win. They got to be given a role that an actual chance to help you win, and goaltending. And I guess I'd say your defensive posture, your six defensemen forming a proper group here. And that's kind of what's been going on. That's what you've been looking for, and that's what we've been seeing. In fact, they haven't scored a power play goal now, I think, in 5 games, and they won 4 in a row, which is unheard of here. They got 2 goals last night by a fourth liner and a third liner, and they got a shutout from a guy that started the season in Bakersfield. So those are the things that stand between Edmonton and winning to me, and they always have, is the depth of your forwards and clearly your goaltending. And for the moment, they're starting to look pretty decent, Kevin.
So, when you talk about the third and fourth line, and that's how I opened the show, that they were, 2 big reasons. I thought Lazar had a hell of a game too, as a fourth line player playing, 9-10 minutes. What do you think happens here, Spec, when guys like, Trent Frederick and even Colton Dock get healthy down the stretch? How are they going to navigate this? Because, a guy like Josh Szymanski's been pretty good here on a fourth line and sometimes a third line role, and Lazar's come in and Jones has been good. So maybe your thoughts on how the coaching staff navigates that with more of a healthier roster.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, Draisaitl's coming back.
Yeah.
and he's playing. Like, he steps in the minute he's ready. So someone's stepping out, when he steps in. So then you have Frederick, who's, I don't think you're just going to bury him. He's going to come back. You're going to give him a chance to play at some point, for sure. And, there's some depth guys whose jobs are always on the line around here. You just named them. Like, if I'm pulling a forward out of this lineup, his name's going to be Szymanski, Jones, and Lazar. And Colton Dock's coming back. So you got 3 guys coming back, and we just named 3 guys who are always going to be sort of on the edge of the roster, right?
Yeah.
But, Jones, for instance, he's made himself pretty hard to get out of this lineup. He's been a good player. Szymanski, we look at and we say he's pretty good now, and the only thing stopping him from being even better is ice time. He's on the move, this kid. He's getting better and better all the time. Like, he's the last guy I want to take out because I want to see where this is going to go with Szymanski. And Lazar has just become such a good utility guy. I think you can take him out. I mean, listen, I'd say if Draisaitl plays tomorrow, Lazar comes out. But he's such a pro and a veteran. I know what I'm going to get. I can pull him in and out. So they got some decisions. And the guys that have the spots right now, particularly Jones and Szymanski, they're clinging pretty hard to those spots, Kevin. They're not vulnerable right now to get taken out. I have a hard time taking Jones out of this lineup right now.
Well, would you say of all those guys that you and I just mentioned, and there's, five of them basically, the others haven't had this internal pressure on the fourth line, guys that are, players 13 and 14, where the fourth line was looking over their shoulder in the press box because they're like, well, this guy's not taking me out. When's the last time we saw this? I don't remember the last time.
Absolutely. That's usually part of what makes Steele's a good fourth line is it takes a while to find who they are. And, my experience over in hockey is you start the season sort of with 4 or 5 fourth line guys, and it takes you a while to figure out which ones are going to start the first playoff game. And that's what we got going here. Like, you love Jones's game on the wing. Last night they played Szymanski at 4C.
That's right.
And that's a little bit of a trial balloon here, I could see, for the coach, and then who's going to go on that other wing? Is it going to be, you got size and feistiness in Colton Dock and in Frederick. And if you feel like you need another centerman kicking around just in case, you got Curtis Lazar. So yeah, they got to, you got to like it. This team hasn't had an effective fourth line for a long time. And maybe that's just, we all talk about the little shade of improvement it took around here to maybe have actually won a cup instead of played in 2 and lost them. And that fits into part of that, 5% improvement for sure.
Mark Spector with us on Sports 1440. Another thing I was kind of breaking down over the course of the opening segment, Spec, and you touched on it, was the defense pairings and how each one of them now have an identity. Really, they do. And for the first time that I can remember, like the second pairing in Murphy and Nurse played played more than Bouchard and Ekholm last night. And Emberson and Wallman, they got some cohesiveness going. So I don't recall the last time that this team had 3 defense pairings that were feeding off each other like they are right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think what we're defining here is it's coming together in Edmonton for sure. Last night, Nurse and Connor Murphy played more and were more, it was a game where you were leading pretty much. I mean, I think Jones scored 5:28 in or something. And you won a game where your top 6 got you 1 empty net goal at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't score a power play goal, and your top pairing of Ekholm and Bouchard that have been exceptionally productive and, really, really good lately, they didn't have to produce. They had no points and not a lot of shots on net or anything. They just played. And that's a good team. You can't win the same way every night. You can't have the same guys carry you to victory every night. And you won 4 in a row, and you could certainly say that in that 4th one, the Foot Soldiers delivered that win, right? And Wallman and Emberson are really starting to kind of, they're quiet. They're playing quiet hockey out there. They're helping you win there, So now you always need, how many defensemen do you need for a playoff run, Kev? Do you need like 8?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Oilers have been lucky here, Spec, too, because the injury bug on the back end for the last 2 playoff runs has been almost non-existent. So
Right.
that's the good thing with them. But man, you think about some of the playoff runs that some teams have to go. They're hitting 8 and 9 for sure. You're right.
So I mean, Spencer Stastny's 7.
Yeah.
You know, and now we go down to the farm for 8.
Yeah. And if that's
9 and stuff. So I guess you just got to hope for good. You know, everybody in the cap system is thinner than we used to be. Like there's no keeping a whole bunch of extra guys around. That's just the way it is. But the guys you got right now, they've really found a role. Like there was a practice about 10 days ago where for some reason, Chris Knobloch and Paul Coffey and Mark Stewart decided, let's just mix up all our pairs and everybody plays with someone else. So we all looked at the pairings and said, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And they went back to the next night. They went back through the game and had the pairings we expected to see, and they haven't changed since. And I don't see them changing. Like, I don't see how, you're not just going to run Spencer Stastny into this thing now. These guys have 8 games left to settle down and hone their craft and make this thing work even better. And the direction is good right now. You can't not like what you're seeing out of this Oilers team, the way they're playing.
Mm-hmm. Mark Spector with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Yeah, if you go back, to the farm, as you say, after Stastny, then you got Regula and Brown and whatever else is after that. But most teams, they'll tell you, we don't want to get to that stage.
Well, sure. They don't want to, but
sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to. It's listen, it's the pressure's off here a little bit, which is good. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure how badly they want to finish first in their division, to be honest with you. Yeah. But they're distancing themselves. They win that game against San Jose. San Jose's way back from them. They just win that game against the Kraken last night. Now they got 10 points on them. They're done. The Kings are 9 points back here. So the pressure's off. You're making the playoffs now. You're going to be 2 or 3. And I'm not sure that being 2 or 3 isn't just as good a place as any for the Oilers. What do you think?
Well,
should they be pushing for 1 here?
Yeah, I think you push for the division for a couple of reasons. It gives, because you haven't won a division, and I'm not saying it's a big deal. Haven't won one for 40 years. Plus, if you ever say you'd want to have home ice for 2 rounds moving forward here, figure out round 3 when you get there. But to me, you still want to have an eye for the division title. The 2-hole to me it's there, but to me, I'm going for the division title.
Well, the 4 point. What are they?
2.
2 back and Anaheim has a game in hand, so there still has to. And you don't get Anaheim anymore, so they'll need a little help. And let's see how it unfolds. But they've comfortably put themselves in the playoff spot. Unlike your Jets, who are not comfortable. But
listen, you and Draker went on and wrote the Jets off, Spec. You guys said there's no possible way these guys are going to get back.
I wrote them off for sure. Yeah, I wrote them off.
Both you guys.
I'm happy to see them back.
Yeah. So, it's great to have another Canadian team. And as I said, if you're one of those teams that's in that mix and you're looking over your shoulder, the Jets are a team that concerns me, man. You got enough.
Well, they've handled Colorado this year really well.
Yeah.
I should look it up. I think they've beat them at least twice.
Yeah.
If not 3 times. And they, anytime you go in a playoff series against a team that has a hellebuck,
yeah,
you never know, right? You never know.
Hey,
I know he hasn't been great in the playoffs, but he sure was good in the Olympics. You just never know. So
exactly.
And who's up for that Leafs job? Do you think are they going to pick from one of their 6 assistant GMs, or will they go elsewhere and just get a little fatter in that front office? Do you think?
When I know you read all your colleagues and stuff like that, but I don't know if I ever after a news conference with a person that's at the top of an organization like this, I don't think I saw anyone say, we feel good about what's happening moving forward here. Not one person.
Yeah, I know. Well, listen, even in Toronto, they can get sick of their own.
But usually there's something. Okay, he said something here that I kind of think, okay, whatever it is, it could have been one little snippet of his total 1 hour availability or whatever it was, and someone go, okay, I see that. There wasn't one thing that Keith Pelley said yesterday that Leafs Nation went, all right, I feel good about things moving forward.
Yeah, I know. I know, buddy. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. To me, it's clear. To me, it's very clear what has to happen there. You have to commit to a rebuild. You have to say this retooling, they've really become in the last 10 years a lot like Calgary there, but they're better in the regular season, but they don't have what it takes to go beyond that. And that to me is, they're a good regular season team, great, but to me, they have to commit to a rebuild. And Pelly came out yesterday, Keith Pelly, and said, we're going to do a retool. And I want to say to you, how many retools have produced Stanley Cup contenders? The Rangers a few years ago did one. We thought, man, did they ever turn it around fast? Mm-hmm. Where's the Rangers now? Washington last year, Carberry wins the Jack Adams, and we said, holy cow, they just turned that thing around so quick. They're probably not making the playoffs this year.
Probably not. No, they're just a little too far out when you think about it. They beat Philly. They got just as good of a chance as Philadelphia does right now.
Okay, so they're as good as Philadelphia. Great.
Yeah.
Being as good as Philadelphia isn't a compliment. So my point is, find me a retool that's worked.
Maybe you could talk about Pittsburgh, because everyone said in Pittsburgh, there's no way they can do anything here with the aging group. And they're going to make the playoffs, and who knows? Pittsburgh could get to the Final Four.
Okay. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with it. Pittsburgh has had a really good year, better than everybody thought. They're like Washington last year. Mm-hmm. They're like New York, was it 2-3 years ago? They've had a good year. Okay. The jury's not back on Pittsburgh's retool, right? A rebuild produces a team like a San Jose that we think is, when they get there, they're going to stay there. Anaheim's there now. They're not going anywhere for 5, 6, 7 years. No. Chicago, when they get there. Now, there's no guarantee. You could be Buffalo and have a 14-year rebuild if you do it wrong. But we all know that a rebuild means you're going to miss playoffs 6 or 7 years in a row, but you're going to build something with staying power. Pittsburgh's making the playoffs for 1 year in a row here, and let's see how they do. I'm not cheering against them. I hope they last forever. But get back to me in 2-3 years on Pittsburgh and tell me if they're still in the playoffs and winning games. I'll tell you that retool is the first one that worked.
And Boston is in that conversation too.
Okay, they're a wild card team and they're retooling, and that's good. And maybe they're the team that builds a Stanley Cup winner off a retool, but I haven't seen one yet.
It leads us away from Toronto, which we were talking about, Spec. And again, the question is, do you think Austin Matthews is the guy that can lead this franchise to a Stanley Cup? That has to be your question. Yeah. If you don't think he can, then you got to deal him and get the assets and then make that call right now.
I deal him and Nylander and get the assets and start my rebuild and kick start my rebuild. So Matthews and McDavid are in the same spot. They're both contractually committed to their teams for 2 more years after this one.
And same price pretty well.
Yeah, sure. So the point is with McDavid, because you're in your Stanley Cup window, he's playing for me this playoff year. He's playing for me next season, next playoff year. And the following summer, I need to make a decision in Edmonton. I need to say, Connor, either I'm signing you for another contract or I'm trading you. I'm not letting you play your last year out and I lose you for nothing. I'm trading Connor McDavid for the most stuff I can get. This is a conversation for later, but that's where Edmonton is. Toronto, there's no point hanging on to Matthews for 2 years because you're no good. He's not helping you win a cup in the next 2 years. I trade Matthews this summer. I trade Nylander this summer. I get prospects, not just draft picks. I get young players like Beckett Seneke or a young. I trade Matthews to a place where they've got a couple of real studs for me. Yeah, and I start my rebuild. And then I trade Nylander, same thing. And I start my rebuild.
Ducks wouldn't even think about that, Spec.
Well, okay, whatever. My point is this, Kev. Yeah. The Ducks have so many good young players. They're giving me 2 of them for Austin Matthews. Mm-hmm. They're giving me 2 good young players for Austin Matthews and maybe a draft pick, right? So that's where I go. And I do the same thing with Nylander. And I start my rebuild. You got to jump in the Coal Lake, baby. This retooling thing is a guy sitting on the edge of the pier who's chicken, right? Jump in the lake, baby. Let's go. Start my rebuild.
The thing is, when you talk about Matthews and Nylander, they have even probably, you could say, more problems on the back end because Riley's not a fit in there anymore. and he's tied up for another 4 years.
Sure.
Tanev is tied up for another 4 years. He's
Probably.
37.
Yeah.
You know, they got more problems on the back end almost than they have at the forward.
They do. But I mean, if I'm rebuilding, I can live with those guys because I'm not winning, right? I'll have Tanev and Riley around to help the young defensemen I get in the trades that I make, you know, in the guys I bring up. I know they got nothing on their farm, and I know they got no draft picks. The rebuild in Toronto is going to be really hard because it starts from the very, very, very bottom. They got nothing to start with. They got no youth, barely. Nyes is a good player. You know, Cowan's a nice player.
Yeah, Cowan's probably their best, the guy they want to build around.
Right, sure. So build around them and bring in some other young guys. Make Nyes and your elder statesman.
So here's a question for you, Speck. And all these guys out east talk about it. So if Matthews isn't the solution there, where does he go? Like, what team does he fit that is okay? Probably, and when you look at his contract, as you say, he's got 2 more years at 13.25. Is a team really going to trade a whole bunch of assets if they don't extend him as well? And say, you know, and I know he can't do it for another year, right? But so, you know, what team is going to fit where Matthews is going to command $15 million plus?
Well, there's a couple things here. He's got a year to play for you. So if he has another 30-goal year, maybe he's not quite 15 million plus for one. Wow. If you rejuvenate the player, you got a 60-goal centerman. And that guy, I'll pay whatever I need to pay to keep him. I want a 60-goal centerman.
I look at the assets, and you mentioned Anaheim, but they're not trading. Like, I'm thinking maybe a Chicago. Now, would Chicago give up some of those great young players that they have for Matthews?
I mean, maybe. Listen, I'm not Kyle Davidson. I'm not inside his head. I don't know what his timetable is, but all of those rebuilds, you know, and I put San Jose in this thing too. You lose and you lose and you lose and you rebuild, and I'll put Buffalo in this thing too, I guess. Then you get to a point where you've built something that's close, and now it's time. Now it's time to make the big move for a guy. You know, you've got an excess of young players. Hopefully, you can deal your young players that are at the bottom of the list instead of the guys off the top, and you make a big killer move and you bring in a superstar and you push it over the top. There's 4 or 5 rebuilds around this league that would all take. You could move Matthews and get something good for him. I'm telling you right now. So, to me, that's
as
what
you said. Like he's a shell of a player that he was. That's true, and he's coming off of very serious knee injury. So,
I don't think it's that serious. But yes, yay. Listen, what's your alternative, right? The Leafs have comported themselves like they're a Stanley Cup contender for. Well, forever, but certainly for the last 10 years. And they haven't been. They've acted like one. They've emptied their shelves. They've traded away their draft picks. They've been a buyer at the deadline. They've done all the things that Edmonton has done, that Detroit's done, that Florida's done. The only difference is they don't get to the cup. They don't win more than one playoff series in a row. So all of that work, they're at the end of their window now. It's over in Toronto. And there's only one thing to do. There's only one thing. Use the last couple assets you have to start the next generation, man. If you think you're going to retool, I'm here to tell you and record this. It's a bad idea.
Hey, Speck, as we close things up here, as soon as we let you go, I just saw a headline, and I haven't read the article yet because I think it just came out, but I'm not sure. Jonas Seagle, he's a colleague of yours, I guess, eh?
Yes.
So the headline is $1,000 dressing room dinners and $96 selfies, how the Maple Leafs have changed under Keith Pelly. Now, when you read a headline like that, what are you thinking about of how this article is going to be? Because I haven't even opened it up yet.
$1,000 dressing room
dinners. And $96 selfies, how the Maple Leafs have changed under Keith Pelly.
Oh my God!
This could be a nightmare here.
Do they have an assistant GM in charge of selfies?
I don't know.
Because they have 6 assistant GMs in Toronto, eh?
Oh man,
6.
Well, who do you like? Okay, I think they should go both ways though. To have a president of hockey ops and a GM. Do you think that they even go off the board here and bring in Chris Pronger for something here?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Pelly's all over the analytics, so that's not Pronger, right?
No.
He said it's all about data and evidence-based this and that. And I mean, Tyler Dello has a better shot at being the GM of the Leafs than Chris Pronger. And I'm not telling you Chris Pronger should be the GM of the Leafs. You need experience, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a role for Chris in my organization somehow. Like, he's a smart guy and a different cat when it comes to decision making. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But I need a guy that has experience running the Leafs. You know, the Leafs are a bear, man. Like, your first car you drive when you bought your first car, it wasn't a giant Denali truck. It was something small so you could learn how to drive. You don't just walk in for your first gig ever and think you're going to run the Leafs. That's a mistake.
But we all do know spec, and it's simple to say, if you are GM of the Leafs, coach of the Leafs, captain of the Leafs, if you ever win a Stanley Cup, you will go down as one of the greatest Toronto Maple Leafs of all time, because it's...
Yeah, I've been hearing that for a long time.
True. Yeah.
You sure. And I can't wait to tell my kids I walked on the moon. Right? It's never happening.
Paul, was it the moon? Was the moon after the Leafs? Was it 68? 69? Come on, Duke, easy, man. You say it like you just haven't. Stop. Anyway, good stuff, Spec. We'll see you down at the rink at some point this week.
Sounds good.
Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. Check them out at northgategm.com. Hey, when we come back, maybe we'll hear from one of the Oilers from last night. Max Jones spoke. Chris Knobloch. That's straight ahead on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. And Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. Presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com. Welcome to Silent Ice Center, the region's newest hockey and event center in Nisku. Featuring 2 NHL-size ice surfaces, premium seating, private suites, and an electric atmosphere. From elite hockey to major tournaments, concerts, and special events, this is where the action lives. And with Summit Restaurant overlooking the rink, every event is a full experience. Silent Ice Center, built for champions, built for the community. Book your ice, your event, or your next big night at Silent Ice Center. Email booking at silenticecenter.com.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the VLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, Common thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Your game, your station. Sports 1440.
And watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:31 in Edmonton. So we were just talking to Spec about this article that just came out on The Athletic by Jonas Siegel. I believe it just came out this morning. Now, it's April 1st. I guess you got to be careful, but I mean, I don't see a guy writing this and talking about certain things about when Keith Pelly took over the team and talking about fan access and fan experience. He's saying that the Leafs charge $956 for that kid to stand on the ice to wave the flag before a home game. That can't be true, Duke. There's no way that can be true. Nah, this is all like it's. Let's go to the end of the article. No way. He talks about in this article, if you want to hit the Leafs goal horn, you can do it for $64. A photo on the ice after the game will run you $95 a person. A selfie, in other words, plus the cost of the ticket. This has to be an April Fool's joke. There's no way they could do that, could they? The MVP tiers of $1,500 includes 2 tickets to Fan Day when you can purchase 2 more tickets. Yeah. Dinner in the Leafs dressing room. $1,000 a person, up to maximum of 10 people. Yeah, this has to be an April Fool's joke, for sure. But that would be really causing some, you know what, in Toronto. It's great though. Hey, let's hear from the game-winning goal scorer from last night, Max Jones, who played in his 300th game and gets the game winner. Here's Max Jones from last night.
I think so. I think it hit my elbow and then my face. I don't know. They don't ask how. Well, I guess you guys ask how. I think it was literally my face. Yeah.
So another game where you guys just don't seem to give up a lot early and kind of set a tone. You're getting the hang of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like ever since we had the conversation about just everyone stepping up a bit, it seems like everyone's kind of just doing a little bit extra out there. The start of the game was pretty evident. You saw how fast it was and how fast we were playing, and just playing simple, and kind of carried out through the whole game.
Seen some identity come together with this team, in third, fourth lines and some of the pairings now. Did you sense that to yourself?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think everybody knows. I mean, you expect to, at this point in the season to know where you're at and know what you need to be doing on the ice. So I feel like you can see it out there. Guys are playing the way that they know that they should be, and we're playing great, and it's fun to be a part of. And I mean, the group is really fun to be a part of, just outside of the ice and just being in the locker room with them. So I feel like when you have a good group like that, you really rely on each other to do their job.
You guys had a shutout after 40 minutes the other game, and they scored twice. They really seemed to buckle it down. Outside of the penalty kill, Ingram, had to make some key saves there, but you guys really seem to limit that, especially.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the biggest part of that is that Ingram made some really great saves. Like he was really good tonight, and you could tell. I mean, we felt it on the bench, and we knew that we needed to step up in certain areas, and the puck turned over, we knew that, Ingo was going to have it tonight. He was on his game, and it was fun to watch.
So Anaheim had that little rally. Seattle didn't go quietly. I mean, they kept coming. But you speak to, like, is there a level of calm on the bench? Like, there's no sort of panic?
Yeah, I think obviously it's hard to like the Anaheim game. You it's just there, like you feel it. You feel it happen, and you got to try to talk yourself out of it and find the little things where that next shift after they score, dump the puck in. Okay, like. Great play, or, big hit. Okay, great play. And then you start building the momentum back through that and just talk on the bench. You don't want it to go too quiet, because then you just feel like you could, it just kind of crumbles a little bit. So I feel like it's been a really good bench in terms of staying positive. And we won both those games. So it's fun to be a part of.
Pretty healthy competition too. Like there's, guys that are going to get healthy, that are going to push for spots. You got everybody that's in seems to be playing pretty well. Like that's, it's pressure, but it's healthy at this time of year.
Yeah, I think so. I think if someone is playing better than certain guys and they're in the lineup, I think we have the group that's very, admirable to each other. We watch guys get in the lineup and do great things, and we're happy for them. And at the end of the day, it's one goal here. And I noticed that since I got traded here last year. Everything else doesn't matter. Like there's one goal, and if you're not a part of it, then you're not going to be here. And it's very evident with this group and how close it is, and how much everybody really cares for each other.
That's Max Jones yesterday, third goal of the season, 300th career game, and the game winner. Oilers over Seattle 3-0. They're 2 points back of Anaheim, and on a 4-game winning streak heading into the Chicago Blackhawks game tomorrow. When we come back, we're going to switch gears up a little bit. We're going to talk some NCAA basketball, March Madness down in the Final Four, and we're going to talk a little NBA, maybe get some numbers crunched on that side with VSiN Live's Jonathan Von Tobel. Money moves on VSiN Live. That's on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio, presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our number one selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow. People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Bring into savings at the Brick. Refresh your home with huge discount. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals, and buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game. Save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your FlexiBee card. Plus, save 50% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play.
Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Why pay dealership prices when you can get the same quality for less? Hi, it's Lisa, and here at Ed's Auto Salvage, we've been Alberta's trusted source for used auto parts for nearly 50 years. From engines to mirrors, transmissions to tires, we've got it all at prices guaranteed to keep your wallet happy. Shop local, shop smart. Shop Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Be sure to visit us online at edsautosalvage.com and get your vehicle back on the road for less.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregate. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers fans, season seats have never been easier. Sign up for first access to full, half, and quarter seats starting at only $28 per week by visiting edmontonoilers.com/season seats.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:41 in Edmonton, and time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, the plumber to call when the toilet mysteriously breaks after your jalapeno pepper popper fuel game night with the fellas. That's mrrooter.ca. As we welcome back Jonathan Von Tobel from Money Moves on VSiN Live. But good morning, JVT. You're with Kevin Karius. Once again, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440. Once again, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Very excited. The Final Four will be great. I'm actually heading out tonight to go to the Final Four Radio Row, so I'm looking forward to Indianapolis.
Hey, tell us a little bit about that. You know, you hear, obviously we hear about Super Bowl media role. How does this one compare?
I will let you know. This is actually going to be my first time out there, so that's why I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard that it's a little bit more intimate. There's a lot of college basketball coaches just kind of roaming around and doing whatever. I know we've got Nate Oates already scheduled, our own Josh Pastner out here in Las Vegas. I believe he'll be out there. So we've got a few names already lined up to come and talk, but it'll be cool to talk to some of these coaches about the landscape of college basketball, some X's and O's, and a little bit more too.
How much intel do you get? Are guys forthcoming, coaches and other media people, or is it like pulling teeth? What's it like, Jonathan?
I mean, it depends. If it's like anything like the Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of folks that are willing to talk, especially off the record, and just chat and do things, especially if you got some relationships with them. Some of these coaches, who knows? I mean, you talk about NIL, some of them open up and they're willing to say whatever. So it is a different landscape, obviously. We will see what some of them want to say when we get out there.
Well, let's bust these two games down. Let's start with UConn and Illinois. And, man, you must have been just as shocked as anyone with that ending in the UConn-Duke game.
Yeah, I mean, who was it? That was absolutely incredible. One of those where I was one of the few times during the NCAA tournament where I was just watching the games at home instead of out somewhere, and you just let out that expletive or whatever it is, and that shot goes down. Absolutely insane the way that they blow that thing. But look, UConn lives to see another day. They've been incredible in the NCAA tournament over the last couple of years from an ATS standpoint. I believe just one failed cover over that span over the last three NCAA tournaments they've been in. So we know how good this team has been. And I would say that I would not fault anybody who wanted to look in the direction of Dan Hurley and the Huskies, but I will take my shot against them. I think one of the things that I really like about this Illinois team is the way they play basketball. They play at a very slow pace, but they take so many three-point attempts. Over 50% of their shots come from beyond the arc, and they still shoot about 35%. If you couple that volume with that efficiency, that's a very, very good mark. And playing out there in Indianapolis in a big football stadium, painting my numbers, I think is going to help you offset some of the odd shooting backgrounds and maybe some of the inefficiencies you'll have compared to what UConn's done from beyond the arc of this NCAA tournament. Just one of these games where they've cracked 30% from deep. They're a better three-point shooting team than that, but it just really hasn't been there for this group, and they've been very front court oriented. And I think Illinois has got the horses to get it done. So we'll see what the betting market wants to do. My strategy was to go money line. You know, you got some spots at like minus 130. Hopefully that gets a little bit cheaper, but I still think that's playable. I think Illinois is going to get this thing done.
What are you looking at for over-under here in this one, JVT?
I mean, I'm thinking a little under. I mean, both teams want to play pretty slow, and I don't think you're going to get this up and down affair. UConn, obviously, a very solid defensive team. Now, the Duke game went over the total, but we saw how much of a grinder the Michigan State game turned into. I think you end up with like 125-ish points in that game, somewhere in that range. I wouldn't be surprised if you get there. Both teams a little bit more half-court oriented, and while you get a bunch of three-point shots from Illinois, the aspect of playing on a new neutral out there in that football arena might cut down on some of the efficiency, as you mentioned. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of a lower scoring game between these two. So I would lean under the total.
Jonathan Von Tobel from Money Moves, Vison Live, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. The two teams met way back in November. Do you take anything from that game where UConn won 74-61, or is it so long ago that it doesn't come into play here?
No, I think it's long enough that you're looking at both of these teams and just expecting what you've seen in recent form as opposed to the beginning of the year. I mean, young college kids getting better as the season goes along. You learn more about your team as well. You change your strategies as you move along too. So I don't know if you're taking too much away from a previous result, especially so far away.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about defense, okay, big discrepancy here. You got the 69th ranked team in Illinois, and you got the UConn team that ranks 14th in that defensive efficiency. Does that stray or sway your strategies at all going into this one?
No, I mean, I think that you're definitely looking potentially at UConn, maybe breaking out of their shell a little bit more if you like UConn here. I mean, the offense really has not been what you've wanted. We mentioned the three-point shooting really hasn't been there. Caravan had a really good game, I believe it was against UCLA, but been a little hit or miss. The last game obviously could not hit from beyond the arc or just really from anywhere on the floor. That really kind of messed with them. And they've been very, very reliant on Terrace Reed to get a lot of stuff done for them. And so I think that maybe if you're somebody that is either on the UConn staff, obviously, or if you're just a UConn backer or a fan, you're hoping that playing Illinois is going to really help you out. But I think Illinois has improved here down the stretch defensively, especially in these games in the NCAA tournament and heading into the NCAA tournament. I think that you've seen some more rigidity on that end, but it is worth pointing out, go back to that game against Wisconsin that they lost in overtime in the Big Ten tournament. They can be had, but Wisconsin is a much different team the way that they play versus what UConn does, right? Mm-hmm. Wisconsin is a little bit faster tempo. They like to shoot from beyond the arc. They're very analytically sound, getting to the rim as well. I think that that's going to probably not push them the way that UConn probably won't push them the way that Wisconsin has. And I think I've seen some improvements with the way they've been playing too.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Dan Hurley. How much does his experience, firiness come into play here in a game to get to the national championship?
We got to wonder if you can headbutt a ref again, right? Do you not get called for a tech maybe the next time around? But look, I think it has to matter. I mean, his resume is only growing in terms of his ability to succeed in the NCAA tournament. But I was asked this about one of our colleagues earlier this morning about that dynamic. I wouldn't sleep on Brad Underwood. Brad Underwood's a pretty good coach too. He's done a really good job with Illinois. He's had this team obviously near the top of the country for a while now. And now this version of this group has been absolutely tremendous. And they're a very talented team too. So I think it's fair completely. If you want to say that Dan Hurley has the edge, I think where you start to argue is the degree of what that edge is and the difference between him and Underwood. And while I think there is a discrepancy there, I don't think it's as large as maybe some are making it out to be. Brad Underwood has done a really, really good job in his time as a head coach, dating all the way back to before he got to Illinois.
Yeah, fair points. Jonathan Von Tobel from Money Moves, Vison Live, our guest on Sports 1440. So in the other matchup, the two number one seeds, Arizona and Michigan, I've heard some people say, JVT, that this game is going to be better, maybe more hotly contested. There might be more excitement, action than what we might see in the championship final. Where are you with that?
Yeah, I mean, if we buy into the point spreads, then that would be the case. Mm-hmm. Both teams would be about 5.5 point favorites over UConn. They'd be about 3.5 point favorites over Illinois. You have some of those projected lines that are out there, but they're both going to be very competitive games. I think a lot of people just see the two highest power rated teams in the country now facing off in a semifinal and believe that to be the case. But I'd also say, I mean, look, if this game is as tight as we expect, the point spread's 1.5. These are the two best teams left in the field right now. I would say it's tough to play a game like that, whoever wins it, and then just take a day off and go back on a Monday night and have to play somebody else. So I don't know if it's going to be that cakewalk that people expect it to be by the time we get to the national championship game, whoever comes out of this one. But hopefully this lives up to the billing. I mean, the total's at like 157.5. It's 1.5 point spread. That looks like it's going to be a high scoring, tight game. And I expect that to be the case. So hopefully it plays out as entertaining, but I wouldn't chalk it up as a victory for the next round, considering what they have in store for them here in this round.
So you like the over in this one, JVT?
I would look in that direction. I mean, usually when you get these heavyweight bouts like this, both teams are just so efficient and so talented that I think they're going to be able to play their game against the other. Arizona is absolutely tremendous in getting up and down the floor. They play with that quick pace. They don't take a ton of threes, but they're so effective in transition. And they have such good isolation scorers. Braden Burry's obviously leading the way there. Cole Pete is a guy who can just stuff the stat sheet for you. Yeah, I keep throwing out there, like, would we really be surprised if he throws up like a 14, 7, and 4 type of game on efficient shooting, considering how good he could be? I don't think any of us would be. I really like this team a lot. And then we know, of course, with Landenberg and others, that this Michigan group is very, very solid, especially up front. So I don't think I'd be surprised if we're floating around that total that's out there of 157.5. And if we go even higher than that, and obviously with a 1.5 point spread, an increased chance of overtime potentially if these two teams are as tightly matched as the market thinks they are.
Jonathan Von Tobel with us in Sports 1440. Michigan's known to turn over the ball. How much do you think that comes into play in this contest?
I think it matters a ton. Look, like, Arizona doesn't force a ton of turnovers, but they're so good out in transition that if you're going to give them the opportunity, they're going to take it. And I think they're going to be efficient with it, especially when the turnovers come or how those turnovers come. If you're going to give the ball up and allow them to get some runouts, it's going to be a long day for Michigan. And we haven't really seen that burn them yet in the NCAA tournament. They've had a pretty good draw. My colleague Mitch Moss and I talked about this in our podcast, Pod to the Future, before the NCAA tournament started. You know, we thought the draw for Michigan was brilliant, that they had a very wide open path to the Final Four, and they got here with relative ease. And now this is a big step up in competition. So all of a sudden, maybe your weaknesses do start to show here if you're the Wolverines. And if that's the case, I think they could play a really big role here in allowing Arizona to potentially steal this one.
So Arizona's 5-0 against the spread in the last 5. Michigan 4-8 against the spread last 12. Which way you leaning here, JVT?
Arizona's been my pick for a couple of months now. That's not saying anything crazy. They've been one of the best teams in the country all year long. They were my pick in the bracket for the NCAA tournament as well. So I'm going to stick with Arizona. I think they can get this done. You know, I've mentioned all the pieces. I point out too, you know, we talked about coaches in the last round. Tommy Lloyd, I think, is a pretty underrated coach at this point right now. And there's a lot of continuity to this team, going back to some FIBA basketball in the offseason where some of these guys were playing under Lloyd overseas. So I think this group is really, really deadly. And the two young guys have gotten so much better, Pete and Burries. I think this is going to be a really big problem for Michigan. So I think Arizona gets it done. They're my national champion, and I haven't seen any reason why I would move off of my thought before the tournament started.
Any player prop bets that you would recommend, just in both these games, JVT, moving forward?
I don't know about like in terms of like points, rebounds, assists, but you can bet on most outstanding player. And I do think there's some interesting candidates here, especially like Stojakovic for Illinois. You know, if you like UConn, I think it's hard not to look at either a guy like Caravan, who's in the range of like 15, 20 to 1, or obviously Reed, who's going to be up there as well. And then for Arizona, I mean, Pete is probably the one that I would look at. He's like 10 to 1 to get it done. Again, he can really rack up some of those numbers. I think those are some of the shots that I would look for here if you like some of those. But the ones that I really do like quite a bit, I do like Pete at 10 to 1, considering I do like Arizona with the national champ.
I just wanted to switch gears and talk a little NBA for just a couple of minutes with you, Jonathan, in the sense, is there any team right now that you're looking at down the road, down the stretch here, that is going to make a push and could make a deeper playoff run and maybe surprise people here in the final couple of weeks of the NBA season?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty stubborn that Denver, when they're healthy, is going to be a really deadly team. And right now they're in that 4-5 spot. That would mean a second-round matchup with Oklahoma City. But remember last year, I mean, a lesser version of Denver, Aaron Gordon with a hamstring falling off the bone, and Michael Porter Jr. with one shoulder pushed them to 7 games with Nikola Jokic. And I think this team is better, they're deeper, and they're finally healthy again. I would very much look out for Denver. I think they're a team that is going to be quite the pain in the Western Conference. And I'll throw one in the East as well. And it's kind of a similar thought, right? I mean, finally healthy, finally together, maybe getting healthy at the perfect time, and the suspension that worked out really well. Philadelphia is now all together. We've seen their big three now play: Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. It's worked out really well for them. Got a big win against Charlotte over the weekend. They continue to deliver, although they just lost to Miami the other day. But I would not, if I'm like a team like the Knicks, I would not want to run into the Philadelphia 76ers in a first-round matchup in a 3-6, because I think that is deadly for New York, who, as we've seen, struggle on this road trip right now that they're currently on. I think that's going to be a bad matchup for them. So in each conference, I would look. And it's funny, right? I mean, we've talked about Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic going head-to-head all the time, but I think those two are going to be the biggest flies in the ointment, if you will, in their respective conferences.
Yeah. Hey, besides Philly, is there a team that you think has a better shot to knock off Detroit or even Boston for that matter in the East?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very pro Cleveland since the acquisition of James Harden. That duo offensively is very, very good. We saw some of the warts against the Lakers last night, but for the most part, that's a team that I think is going to be very, very efficient on offense against any opponent that they face. The defense, I think, leaves a little bit to be desired. And I don't know if they will win multiple playoff series, but I will say this. I have been very high on Charlotte from the beginning of the year, and they have very much made it known that they're one of the better teams in that bottom half of the NBA, or excuse me, of the Eastern Conference. And if they get Detroit, that's a winnable matchup for Charlotte. I don't know if they would win another playoff series, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're watching Charlotte push Detroit in a first-round series, should that be the 1-8 matchup that we're going to get.
Hey, Jonathan, as always, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy Indy. It should be a real blast. Kind of jealous. It's going to be pretty wild there for the next few days.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Jonathan Von Tobel. Money moves on VSiN Live, busting down the NCAA, Final Four, and a little bit of NBA as well. That's our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter. Your top defense pairing against leaks. That's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, a little Cam and eggs on April the 1st. He was trying to explain to me before the game what it was all about. And I was like, Cam, it's loud in here. The horns blasting. So it was kind of funny. We also got Zach Lang from Oilers Nation coming up at 9:20. We'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne at 9:40. And then Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News covers the Philadelphia Flyers. It's all straight ahead on the Kevin Karius program. We're halfway through the big show. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of RE/MAX Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
For the first time this season, the Edmonton Oilers are winners of 4 in a row after shutting out the Kraken last night, 3-0 from Rogers Place. Connor Ingram, 27 saves for his second bagel of the season. None of the games around the rest of the NHL, many with playoff implications. The Bruins double up the Stars 6-3. Islanders fall to the Sabres 4-3. Cole Caulfield scores his 47th of the year in the Habs 4-1 win over Tampa Bay. Senators fall to the Panthers 6-3. Red Wings lose in Pittsburgh 5-1. Caps with the Flyers 6-4. Jackets lose to Carolina 5-2. And the Jets pick up a big 2 points, 4-3 winners in overtime over the Blackhawks. Edmonton Oil Kings go down 2-1 in their first-round playoff series against Saskatoon after last night's 4-3 loss out to the Blades. And in the association, Raptors continue to struggle against high-caliber opponents. Detroit wins 127-116 over Toronto. From the majors, Toronto bounces back in a big way with a win over the Rockies, 5-1 the final. Max Scherzer picks up the W, giving up just 1 earned run over 6 innings. Elsewhere, across the majors, the Orioles lose to Texas 8-5. Brewers top the Rays 6-2, and the Yankees, they blank the Mariners 5-0. Finally, Team Canada, ahead of this summer's World Cup, playing an international friendly, came to a scoreless draw against Tunisia, but did learn who their final opponent in group play will be at the World Cup as Bosnia and Herzegovina defeated Italy to claim the final seed. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll hear a new edition of Cam and Eggs and be joined by Zach Lang from Oilers Nation. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440,
A Stingray radio station.
broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhock beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
As we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season, GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
This summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
The WHL playoffs return to Rogers Place for Game 5. Family fun that's second to none, starting at just $20 a seat.
This Friday at 6, your Edmonton Oil Kings look for a critical win versus the Saskatoon Blades in the 5th game of their first-round series.
Plus, at every playoff home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Saskatoon Blades. WHL playoffs, round 1.
Game 5, this Friday evening at 6.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20. Save on day-of-game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Karius, the next generation, connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Karius who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Ride for Dad is back. Join Sports 1440 as we help raise funds and awareness for the fight against prostate cancer. The ride starts Saturday, June 13th at Blackjack's Roadhouse. Register online at ridefordad.ca and find more info at sports1440.com.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Tough loss tonight, Coach. What happened out there?
Well, we played like our goaltending was, and our defense was an absolute disaster. Okay, no more questions.
Somebody needs a filter.
Good filtration makes a big difference. Napa Auto Parts annual spring filter event sale is on from April 7th to April 13th. Save on cabin, air, and oil filters to keep your vehicle running clean. Visit your participating Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:04 in Edmonton, the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick, presented by Sports Select. It's so easy to play. We got a lighter night in the NHL tonight with just a few games, but hey, lots of baseball and some afternoon games you can look at as well. It'll be 11 o'clock start for the Jays today, I think, against Colorado to close things out. So a lot of Wednesday getaway days in the Major League Baseball schedule to look at. Check it out at sportselect.com. You got to be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. So, you know what? I had a couple texts just regarding that article from Jonas Seatle. I texted Speck to see if he read it yet. And this is all about the stuff, more crap going on in Leafland. He says, I haven't read it yet. He's whipping Shelka in crib. So Speck and his wife Shelka are playing crib at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday. I was just mentioning it to Duke. I don't recall ever playing a game of crib at 9 a.m. unless it was still from the night before. We've also had texts from people, our listeners saying that can't be true, what's going on there. But if you read the article and then go to the bottom, there are no, this is an April Fool's joke in the comments from below. Now, here's another one, and this is from the Edmonton Stingers, and this was just posted, that it says, built for one night, inspired by a city. Have you guys, have a look at this, Josh and Duke. It's a jersey, a kit that they are going to wear for one night only for the K-Days showcase. And it says the Edmonton Mall Rats. So they have a photo of it's actually a pretty well done photo. I don't know why there's two basketballs in it, but if you go to the Stingers, X page. So the Edmonton Mall Rats, it says a special alternate identity that brings together two of Edmonton's most recognizable institutions, West Edmonton Mall and K-Days. So this has to be another April Fool's joke, I would imagine, or is it not? Like, to be honest with you, have you seen the logo of the jersey, Duke?
I'm looking at it right now.
Like, I think it looks good.
It looks mean.
Yeah.
It looks terrifying.
With the ledge in the back, Rogers, the bridge.
Part of the problem here, though, like, obviously mall rat is a term for anybody that's just spending a lot of time inside such facility. But I think any sort of name of rats in Alberta just doesn't jive because we don't have rats here.
No. So this has to be another.
Call them the mall mice.
April 1.
The mall beavers. The mall muskrats.
EG texts in, did I miss in or out? No, not quite yet. We'll have it at 9:40.
But people love in or out.
Well, sure they do. And, we had Eddie on Monday, but, I bumped into Strudwick last night at the game.
Did you?
He said something, and he couldn't remember what it was, but he's riding in the car with, I think it was Drew. But he was riding and he was listening in the morning, maybe going to school. And he said something that Eddie and I were talking about, just set him off. I don't know if it was the microwave thing.
Probably. That would set any sane person off.
Yes, it would. Eddie's probably at some gas station right now. Heating up some soup.
Yeah, hiding behind a stack of chips.
Yeah.
While he reheats his tuna.
Yeah.
Like a savage.
Well, Josh Fenwick, what do you think of these mall rat things here? It's a beautiful logo, I think.
Yeah, no, the logo's not bad. Are we sure this isn't an homage to the Spruce Grove Trash Pandas, which is why they decided mall rats? My first initial thought, this is what my first thought is at looking at anything like this now, is this AI? And they just put it together this morning, and this is, in fact, an April Fool's joke. Yeah. If not, could be the first Stingers jersey I get, because it does look pretty clean.
It does. I mean, the logo, it's not like someone just threw this together and you know what I mean? Like, he took some work to do this.
Absolutely. And it's got the Edmonton skyline on the bottom of the jersey there. Like, I'm pretty pro this jersey.
Why the two? Am I missing something? There's two basketballs in it. So there's one in the rat's hands and then another one behind him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's I'm not sure about that, which is why maybe this is AI and the AI just didn't understand. So it has two basketballs in there.
I don't know.
If not, this person that designed it did a very good
job. Tell you what,
job.
I would get one of these t-shirts.
Oh yeah. These are clean. These are clean.
Yeah.
Do you think that actually happens a lot across just sports companies, whatever, when they come up with these little fun shticks that are April Fool's pranks, but then people actually really latch on to them. So then there's disappointment when you can't actually acquire such merchandise. Like, just for example, the worst I ever got by a social media post for April Fool's was 7-Eleven posting that they were coming out with a buffalo chicken flavored Slurpee. And I thought to myself, that is the most insane thing I've ever heard. I have to try it.
Well,
but it was a prank.
So think about last year, and we went to buy some merchandise twice, and they were sold out. But at the Riverhawks game, they went with the Edmonton onion cakes for a game.
Right.
Remember?
That was good.
And everyone thought, well, this makes no sense. Well, then you go to the merchandise store at Remax Field, you can't even come close to finding a T-shirt because they were sold out. So,
but I like that if the Stingers are doing this, maybe this is like a CEBL thing, because we do see this in all the other sports leagues, right? So maybe this is them having their own little City Connect jerseys and stuff.
Well, maybe someone could contact the Stingers here, Josh.
I don't have their contact information.
You should be doing Stingers work. You're our basket.
I'm sure we'll.
What are you going to be doing for this? You should be like down at the games doing everything. You should be Paul Sir's assistant.
Let me talk to Paul Sir when he gets back, because he does do color for their home games.
That's right. So you could be a stats guy.
We could see.
Yeah. As I mentioned, ran into Cam Tate last night at the game. This is edition number 3 of Cam and Eggs. And Tater wrote me an intro. It says possible intro. It says KK. It says saw Tater last night at the Oilers game. He was excited, very excited. Said he has big news for today's Cam and Eggs. He wouldn't tell me. So let's have a listen. Here it is.
That's one egg. Hurry up, Sparky. Crack the other one. Big day on Cam and Eggs. We could discuss how the Oilers finally won 4 straight, 3-0 over Seattle. And sure, the Blades pulled off a killer 4-3 comeback over the Oil Kings. Edmonton gave up 2 third-period goalless night in Saskatoon. They're up 2-1 in the series. But forget all that. I've got news. Big news. Personal news. Listen up, my friend. Picture the Hogan Bridge at Augusta, the most exclusive real estate in Georgia. It's a stone-arched beauty crossing Rays Creek. But here's the rub. Unless you're chasing a green jacket or lugging a pro's bag, you're staying on the grass. Dedicated to the legendary Ben Hogan back in '58, this bridge is golf's ultimate red carpet. It's draped in artificial turf, so the stars don't lose their footing when the pressure is cooking. For master patrons watching from the pines, that walk across the creek is a silent, sacred march toward destiny. It's where legends are cemented, and dreams occasionally get a little wet. If those stones could talk, they'd tell stories of Sunday charges that'll give you goosebumps. It's pure, unadulterated class. Masters patrons using wheelchairs cannot use Hogan's Bridge, but that could change. I'm going to the Masters, leaving Sunday. I almost fell out of the buggy when I got an email right before I went to dinner before the Oiler game from the U.S. Access Board, the federal agency that actually wrote the accessibility guidelines for golf courses under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. What they do? They set the ADA Accessibility Guidelines, ADAAG. These rules cover things like requiring an accessible route, often a golf car passage, to connect the bag drop to the tees, fairways, and greens. I am one of 3 Canadians with disability invited to test the bridge to determine if the bridge is indeed suitable for wheelchair traffic. We fly into Augusta Sunday and spend evenings testing and, first and foremost, safety. The bridge, the width, the scale, and the texture of its bottom. And then, we get VIP passes for the entire Masters. I am so excited. Can't wait. Cam and Eggs back tomorrow. Sports 1440. Someone please pinch me.
Okay, now, do you believe this, Duke? I don't think I believe it. I mean,
I can't believe anything on a day like this. Everything is to get my goat.
Between the Leafs article, this
Spec playing crib at 9 a.m.
Yeah, there's no way that's true. Like Tater would have said
Mall
something
Rats
about
jerseys?
this Mall Rats. Yeah, Tater would have said something about going to the Masters. So he's probably, as I've said many times, if you pull my other leg, it plays Jingle Bells. I'd love to see him get there and go on the Hogan Bridge. That would be cool. Text 833-401-1440. Lots to talk about from the Oilers. Lots to talk about from the Leafs. Hey, Tinker even said, hey, KK, what about the Bruins? We were talking about that with Spec. They missed the playoffs, got rid of a bunch of people, retooled. They're back in the playoffs from Tinker. Good point. We mentioned that, Tinker, with the Pittsburgh Penguins about retooling. Different scenario, different situation, obviously, when you have an older core like they do have in Pittsburgh with Crosby, with Malkin, with Carlson, with Letang. Different situation with the Bruins, but they did retool. And, think about, they got a possibility to have a very high draft pick from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Very high draft pick from the Toronto Maple Leafs moving forward here. Keith Pelly said there's no way that the Leafs would be tanking here. Again, that's the top 5 protected in the Brandon Carlo trade. If that were to happen, that would be a bit of a game changer for the Leafs. But hey, man, if that thing sits in the number 6 hole, yikes. Wow. MTR says, I can't wait to hear about Kevin's Tiger Woods Masters story for the 500th time. What are you talking about? Not even close to 500, is it, Duke? Not even close. EG says, if you pull my other leg, it plays Jingle Bells. I've never heard that before, and I'm howling. KK said it's so nonchalant. That came from a friend of mine in Meadow Lake, Big Diesel, and even Howie the plumber. Those two guys used to say it all the time, and I sort of pilfered it from them. When we come back, we'll bust down the Oilers' victory last night over Seattle, 3-0 the final with Zach Lang from Oilers Nation, and look ahead to tomorrow's contest against the Chicago Blackhawks. And I mean, the Hawks have quite likely the best young talent assembled in the NHL right now that's even playing in the NHL, and they got some guys to come. But it's just almost too many. They need some guys to help these younger guys along. That's straight ahead. Zach Lang, right after the break. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. Presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Whether you need bodywork, paint touch-ups, or anything in between, the family at Cougar Paint and Collision takes every customer issue to heart.
We've had a lot of really good customers over the years. One guy, he would bring in everything and he would just expect us to be able to kind of fix it. It didn't matter what it was. And one time he brought in his washing machine.
The only thing that was wrong with it was the drum was rusted out or something.
Yeah, he wasn't going to replace it.
Yeah, we had to weld it up. Anyways, he was a nice old guy. Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Ride for Dad is back. Join Sports 1440 as we help raise funds and awareness for the fight against prostate cancer. The ride starts Saturday, June 13th at Blackjack's Roadhouse. Register online at ridefordad.ca and find more info at sports1440.com.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:21 in Edmonton. And time now for the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived and they're going fast. A great selection. So many colors to pick from. $49,900 gets you behind the wheel. Brand new Jeep Gladiators below $50,000. Check it out at stalbertdodge.com as we welcome back Zach Lang from Oilers Nation. Good morning, Zach. You're with Kevin Karius. As always, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440. Really appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. My pleasure. It's always a good time when I get to chat with you in the morning.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We've been busting down the Oilers' victory last night. 4 in a row now. Hasn't happened, as you know that, and everyone else does in town, because it's been a long time coming. But more and more, I think we're seeing good things come together with this team at the right time. They almost waited too long, but things are coming together right now.
Yeah, leave it till the Edmonton Oilers till the 11th hour to kind of find their game, right? And, as they say, it's better late than never. I think Oilers fans knew at some point this was going to happen, where, the Oilers really seem to start clicking out there on the ice. And, I mean, it's pretty evident here with this stretch of games without Leon Draisaitl, right? I think it's, like 8-4-1 now or something like that without Draisaitl, including this 4-game winning streak. It feels like they're putting some nice games together here. And listen, Seattle isn't a powerhouse in the Pacific Division by any means, but they're a good team who's played some okay hockey here lately. Bobby McMahon has been red hot for them. 8 goals and 11 points since they picked him up at the trade deadline. They've had some pieces that have been clicking, and obviously they're a team playing for their playoff lives. So, it felt really good last night to see the Oilers really control the majority of that game. And obviously, they had their lull in the late second and into that third period there for a little bit. But, when you got a guy in Connor Ingram between the pipes who can put together the performance that he did last night, that gives you confidence, right? And I think we're really starting to see that being a big thing here in Connor Ingram's game. Is he's looking more comfortable, he's looking more confident, he's looking like the starting goalie in the NHL.
Let's start there, because that's definitely the case. He feels calm. I said earlier, he just seems to be really tracking the puck. And if the defensemen or forwards aren't getting in front of the puck, Zach, and blocking shots, I mean, the defenseman did a great job in that again last night. He's able to see it, and I don't know if you noticed in his post-game comments, but there's a little more personality. Like, he's kind of showing himself a little bit more here. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think it just comes down to a comfortability factor, right? He made the comments too of like, loving that he was kind of given the keys to the crease more or less. And the fact of the matter being, he knows he's the guy the Oilers are going to lean on here, right? We haven't seen anything in his game to really suggest otherwise. Even when they were kind of going back and forth between Jari and Ingram, a month, 2 months ago, Oilers fans are smart people. I think everybody could kind of see the writing on the wall here that, this was going to be Connor Ingram's crease at some point. And now that it is, again, he's looking really comfortable, right? Yeah. I think the big thing for me, 25 starts on the season, 15 of them have been quality starts for Connor Ingram. That has been absolutely huge. Of course, a quality start for anybody not aware is when a goaltender posts a save percentage above league average. So the Oilers have been getting some really good goaltending from him. And it's been really nice to see. And it feels like the players are confident in front of him too. There doesn't seem to be as much of that panic in the defensive zone as we've seen over time. And I'm sure that also comes with Connor Murphy helping out Darnell Nurse, Paul Coffey behind the bench now for a pretty good stretch of games here as well. But yeah, things are clicking at the right time for this team. Hell yeah, and of course, no Leon Draisaitl in the lineup.
Yeah, and I mean, think about that. I think when you see him be back in the lineup at the tail end of the year, and arrested Leon Draisaitl too, that's going to be a big bonus. Zach Lang from Oilers Nation with us on Sports 1440. I was talking about the defense pairings. Right now, I don't know if I've seen so much identity on each pairing. And, we've seen, obviously, Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm play together for a long time. But when you add the other two pairings here, Zach, that identity, each one's got that certain thing that they're bringing. And that's something that this team hasn't seen in a long time from all three pairings. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's a great sign. I mean, again, we know what the top pairing is. Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard have been one of, if not the best defensive pairings in the NHL over the last number of years here. But we're starting to see some stability with the other pairings as well. I mean, Connor Murphy has been tremendous since the Oilers picked him up. Everything that they've wanted from him, right? Strong defensive defenseman, blocks a ton of shots, kills penalties, plays tough minutes. Coffey has been using, Nurse and Murphy as the matchup pairing here, going up against other teams' top lines when the McDavid 5-man unit isn't out there. So, it's been really encouraging to see, those two guys kind of clicking. And then even on that third pairing, I mean, Ty Emberson, it really feels like he's coming into his own here as well. Jake Wallman, I think the lower minutes for him and playing on that third pairing is doing him well because, it doesn't feel like there's as much noise around his game right now as there kind of had been, a couple of weeks ago. Emberson's a really interesting one for me because I was a huge fan of that signing, the acquisition of Emberson the other year. And, when you kind of look at it last year, he gets a good run in the regular season. He plays in the first round of the playoffs against the Kings. He gets his feet wet in that series. And then they end up opting for John Klingberg, right? Well, this year, it feels like a bit of a vote of confidence that the team didn't go out and find a number 6 defenseman to kind of replace him on the depth chart, right? Really feels like this is going to be Emberson's spot here, that, number 6 spot on the blue line heading into and all throughout the playoffs here. So I think it's a real vote of confidence for Emberson as well. And the other thing too is Chris Knoblauch is starting to trust some of these younger guys. Ty Emberson, look at how much he's played this year. Spencer Stasny, he's been in the lineup a lot. And then in the forward group, Matt Savoy, Vasily Podkolzin, and Josh Szymanski. I mean, finally, we're starting to see, Chris Knoblauch playing these younger guys that the Oilers have with confidence.
Zach Lang with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. We had 3 or 4 texts, Jane Victoria, BC Oiler, and Sask Oilers fan, I think, and one more that I can't pull up just quickly. And maybe all of them addressing the same thing about once the Oiler forwards start to get healthy, Leon Draisaitl included, and Mark Spector and I spoke about this too, Zach, but this is the first time, when guys like Frederick come back and guys like Colton Dock, Max Jones is playing well. Lazar played well last night. Szymanski, you mentioned him. How do you think things shake down as far as who gets inserted into the lineup, most notably here on the, the 4th line, bottom 6 area?
Well, it's a great problem to have, right? I mean, the Trent Frederick injury is unfortunate when it happened because it really felt like he was starting to kind of, turn his game on here a little bit. Similarly with Colton Dach, I mean, we only got a couple of games out of him, and I was liking what we were seeing there. But, when you look at the forward group right now, you say, okay, Curtis Lazar, he probably can come out of the lineup. Max Jones, he's making it incredibly hard to take him out of the lineup. And I've been so impressed with Josh Szymanski's game. For a young player just cutting his teeth in the North American ranks, the pro ranks, he's looked really, really good. I had a bold prediction the other day at Oilers Nation that the one player from the forward group that we won't see in the playoffs to start the year is going to be Adam Henrique. I think he's a guy who could come out of the lineup here. And it's unfortunate because I think he's been a good soldier for the Oilers these last couple of years here. But, there's absolutely no offense to his game these days. I mean, how many games has it been that he hasn't scored? I can't even remember what the number is off the top of my head here. And when you look at Josh Szymanski playing the minutes that he's playing, I just kind of wonder if the coach feels a little more confident with him there. Obviously, some skating ability. He's been really solid defensively, a very smart, cerebral kind of depth player here who knows how to get to the right spots on the ice, offensively and defensively. So, that's kind of the way that I kind of can see it shaking down here. I think Lazar and Henrique are probably the first two guys to come out, when Dach and Frederick return. But, there's obviously going to be some competition here for this fourth line spot. I mean, I don't think anybody's spot is safe. But, hey, at the end of the day, Max Jones has, 3 goals in 15 games this season? He's finding ways to produce offense for this team. And, we've talked about it as Edmonton media people for years. The Oilers need more offense when they don't have McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice. So I think for that matter, it makes it a little tough to take a guy like Jonesy out of the lineup.
So how I responded to our listeners, Zach, I just said, I think Frederick goes in once he's healthy because he played well after the break before getting hurt. But how I mentioned it in that sense is that for the first time in a long time, there are players like Frederick and Henrique that are looking over their shoulders. And if they don't perform well, like Lazar, Jones, Szymanski, they'll be reinserted because that's, they got 3 more guys coming back when you include Leon from injury here. So that's how I see it shaken down. Zach Lang with us on Sports 1440. The only thing that you can maybe bitch or whine or complain about is the power play. And it hasn't looked good since Leon's been on the shelf. I think 1 for 18, if I'm correct on that number. Are they still trying to run it like they were before? Should they simplify it? What do you see?
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there. They are still trying to run the power play like Leon Draisaitl is there. Vasily Podkolzin has been playing in that spot a little bit. I think they need to try and change up the system a little bit. And I know that might be overcomplicating things. And, maybe they're just saying right now, listen, let's just run it the same way that we are. Maybe our power play isn't going to be quite as successful. But we know we're getting Leon back at some point in time here. So, they're winning games. That's the encouraging thing. Obviously, we'd love to see the power play clicking a little bit more. But, I don't hate the idea of them kind of trying to throw a bit of a different look on that power play unit. Maybe it's a different body. Maybe it's somebody like Roslovic getting more ice time on that top unit. A guy who's been shooting the puck a lot in a depth role this season. But yeah, it has felt disjointed to say the very least without big number 29 out there.
Zach Lang with us on the Kevin Karius Show here in Sports 1440. Conversely, the PK unit has been, it's been pretty darn good and was critical in last night with the 3 kills. Are you seeing something different there? I mean, Connor Murphy's obviously helping a whole lot.
Yeah, Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson. I think those have been 2, big additions to that PK unit. And honestly, I also think there's a little bit of an addition by subtraction situation here as well. Tristan Jarry's penalty kill numbers have been abysmal this season. He has been extremely poor when the Oilers have been shorthanded. And conversely, Connor Ingram's numbers have been much better. I think that also kind of plays into things a little bit here as well. But, we're starting to see this unit really starting to click at the right time. And that's really encouraging as well, right? And I really do think a big part of that is the additions of Dickinson and Murphy. I mean, both of these guys were on the top PK unit for the Chicago Blackhawks, who at the time of the trade had like one of, if not the best penalty kill units in the entire National Hockey League. And Dickinson and Murphy were a big part of that. So, I think when the Oilers acquired these two guys from Chicago this year, they kind of said, okay, well, I hope that we can improve the penalty kill solely by just adding these two guys. And I really do think that has been a big reason why we've been seeing these improvements.
Chicago's coming to town tomorrow. I don't know if there's a team that has better young talent in the NHL because of the amount of guys that are playing on ELCs with this team. There's probably too many of them because you just have so many young guys that are still trying to find their way. But what do you make of this Blackhawks team moving forward? They lost to the Jets last night in overtime, and they can be a dangerous team with all this young talent.
Yeah, I mean, they've got nothing to lose, right? I mean, like quite literally, like you said, you look at this lineup and it's just full of young guys. Their top line is three young guys: Bedard, Ryan Green, and Nick Lardis. Anton Frundell has made his NHL debut in the last couple of weeks on that second line. Frank Nazar on the third line. Landon Slaggert on the fourth line. Like, it's just a bunch of young guys, and even on the blue line too. A lot of young up-and-comers, Louis Crevier, Wyatt Kaiser, Sam Renzel, Kevin Korchinski, like a lot of really good young talent here. And I think, Chicago is kind of doing this the right way here and really stripping it down to the bare bones and giving all of these kids ice time. And, they've had some good games here. And it's certainly the time of year where, the Oilers can't take any team lightly because Chicago has pulled out some victories against good teams this season. Again, they kind of have that, nothing to lose sort of mindset right now. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of tomorrow night.
I think they might have 10 guys in the lineup still on ELCs. And that's crazy. And Kansterov's still coming, from Russia here yet. So they got some unbelievable young talent. What's coming up on Oilers Nation here in the next little bit, Zach?
Oh, lots and lots of stuff. We had a really interesting story going up this morning about the Oilers blacking out playoff games until the 50-50 pot reaches $1 million. April Fools.
Yeah.
But no, we've got lots of stuff coming as always here today. We've got some reaction to last night's win for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have some stuff previewing, the game against Chicago tomorrow. And one of our writers is taking a dive into just how good Jason Dickinson and Connor Murphy have been since they arrived here in Edmonton.
Yeah, they have been very, very good for sure. Zach, as always, appreciate you coming on. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, cheers. Thanks for having me, guys.
Zach Lang from Oilers Nation. Game of the day brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where, again, the 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport Packages are here, and you can get behind the wheel for $49,900. Check it out at stalbertdodge.com. When we come back, Duke, I guess we'll go in or out. I haven't even sniffed it out yet. This is day 2 of in or out with you and I. Day 3 will be tomorrow. Hey, we got Dan Barnes coming in tomorrow in studio.
Maybe Barnesy wants to do in or out.
Yeah, we should throw that at him. Why don't we?
I'll try and get the list made early.
Nah, he's a pro. He doesn't.
That's true.
He doesn't need to see anything.
Seasoned.
In case you missed it, Dan Barnes, longtime Edmonton writer, he's retiring. There's a little get together for him here too, as well, Duke. A couple weeks from now.
Are you the MC?
No, Specs in charge. I still like those.
Well, how does he have the time?
Well, Crib.
That's what I mean. He's very tied up.
So Laura and I played Spec and Shelk at Crib a couple of years ago. It was like beat them 10-0. Like, this terrible. Like, Spec can barely count to 15. Like, that's how bad it is. He can't, like,
wow.
He puts all his cards out, and you know how when you get 2 4s, 2 5s, and a 6, you know what it is, right? It's 24.
Mm-hmm.
Spec will go, okay, 15-2. And he'll just go all.
He wants to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Like everyone knows.
Sometimes that can be especially when if there's someone like you who doubts everything Spec says. If he just flops the cards and says what he has, you'll be like, oh, I don't know. Mm-hmm. He needs to lay it out for you slowly and procedurally.
Yeah.
To make sure that nobody thinks he's cheating.
Like, if you know, 3 9s and a 6 is 12, Duke. Everyone knows this in Crib. Except Spec. In or out when we come back on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440. AM radio presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Divorce is never easy, but Fairway Divorce Solutions can help.
Their clear step-by-step process addressed all our issues, and we moved through the process quickly.
Fairway didn't take sides. They saved us money and heartache.
My ex, the kids, and I feel like we'll all be okay.
At Fairway Divorce Solutions, trained mediators and in-house lawyers will move your divorce process forward in a professional and efficient manner to achieve a fair resolution and separation agreement. Visit fairwaydivorce.com.
I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Sports 1440. All sports, all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
Welcome back to the big program. 9:44 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius shows presented by Sports Select. You want to look at a little baseball sprinkle today. The Jays get going here in an hour and 20 minutes. It's Kevin Gausman up against Kyle Freeland. That's a weird series with Chicago. They open it up with Chicago tomorrow. Then they got a day off for Good Friday on Friday. So no game on Friday, and then 2 games against Chicago on Saturday, Sunday. And then the Dodgers come to town. Is that going to be a wild series? Sold out building at Skydome for sure. Time now for In or Out. Brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast air conditioning service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or are you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, Letterbuck.
For the first time this season, Edmonton Oilers now winners of 4 in a row after last night's shutout victory over the Seattle Kraken. 3-0 in the final from downtown YEG. 2 goals from the bottom 6. Max Jones with the game winner. Kasperi Kapanen adding one on a breakaway later on. Complete club effort last night. Once everyone becomes healthy and available to the Oilers roster, and this has been bounced around surprisingly a large amount on the text line and with our guest this morning. I'm not ready to say for sure what happens because it is going to be dictated game to game, but I don't think there's going to be any easy decisions. That's the key here. I don't think there's going to be any easy decisions for head coach Chris Knobloch about who to ice on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah, well, I'm in, and I kind of, as I said, Duke, these guys for the first time in a long time, the guys that are bottom 6, and that doesn't include Dickinson, doesn't include Kapanen, but it includes Henrique, Jones, Szymanski, Lazar. It includes Colton Dock, and it includes Trent Frederick. All of these guys, especially guys like Frederick and Henrique, because they are the veteran guys here. First time in a long time, they're looking over their shoulder here because they know if they don't perform at the highest of levels, Max Jones is going in. Curtis Lazar's going in because these guys have been really good without Leon during this stretch. Save that Florida game when they were shut out. But all these guys have been, Szymanski, all these guys have been really good. So I'm in. It's not going to be an easy decision for Coach Knobloch. I still think when Frederick's healthy, he draws in. And if he doesn't perform the way he was, and then some, after like he was during the post-Olympic break, he'll be in the press box.
And that's kind of, I think, maybe the name that most people are circling here. The Colton Dock thing, he's still a relative unknown because of how few games or how little we saw of him since coming over from Chicago. And I think what we saw, most people liked. But the Frederick thing, listen, we're all in agreement, and anybody that isn't, I think, has some blinders on, that he was playing exponentially better post-Olympic break than he had, obviously, leading up to that in his Oilers tenure. But is it a little bit of just rose-colored glasses because of how poorly he'd played before that to say that now he automatically gets another shot, despite the fact that in the same minutes, in a quarter of as many games, Max Jones has surpassed his offensive production and still does everything that Frederick in theory can do, which is supposed to be play with pace, play physical, and he actually is chipping in a little bit as well. So I think I'm with you, Kev, that upon availability, he will draw back in, but I think his leash is still exceptionally short, sort of like we saw earlier in the year when, unfortunately, guys were looking over their shoulders, but it was for the wrong reasons because nobody in the bottom 6 deserved to hold a spot in the lineup on a night-to-night basis for the vast majority. So,
as you said, and even Zach mentioned, it's a great problem to have right now.
Very much so.
They've not had this upward pressure from the fourth line moving forward that pushes the third line even. You know, they have not had that for a long, long time. Now they finally do. So to the question, it's going to be some tough decisions for Knobloch.
And just really quick, I know how heady you've been about Josh Szymanski and his play in the fourth. He was the team low in ice time last night, but still nearly 10 minutes in what was a very balanced effort, as we've already discussed. Zach had said that he really thinks that it'll be Adam Henrique coming out, whether it be in the home stretch or come playoff time. I'm not so sure there.
Well, the penalty killing, the face-off.
And listen, it's clear that Szymanski has earned some semblance of trust from Knobloch and the coaching staff, but I still think that at least to start, I still think Adam Henrique will be in your lineup to begin a playoff series. Not saying he'll stick there, because you got to, just as anyone, you got to earn it. But I definitely think that the veteran presence will still be appreciated a little bit more than what Szymanski has brought thus far. Deserved, I said, right or wrong, that's just what I think that the coaching staff will do. Out east, playoff races remain very tightly contested, as it is out west as well. But some weird bouncing around as some teams lost last night. A couple picked up wins, and it's a tight race. So with 8 games or less remaining for every team out east on this call it bubble area for a couple spots, let's play a little predictor for a few weeks' time. Who gets in? I'm taking the Islanders, who are currently in a spot. But I'm going to go deep, as about as far down the board as you can go without getting outlandish. And I think the Capitals, who are no, it's not Kev. The Capitals will grab the final wild card spot.
It's outlandish, Duke.
Come on.
So you've got, who do you have here? We're doing the East today, then, right?
Yeah, because if we're looking at the playoff picture realistically, right? I mean, I think the Penguins are pretty comfortably in. The Bruins very much so in the first wild card spot. So it's essentially the third Metro spot and the second wild card spot. I think the Islanders hang on to where they're at. And I think the Capitals, who right there with the Flyers, are actually kind of the, call it, hottest team among these bubbles. Ottawa certainly in the mix, but last night wasn't very inspiring. I think the Caps, there's just something about Ovi still getting it done. He hits 30 goals again for the 20th time in his career last night. They've got the goaltending. I'm still heady on the Caps to make a late push.
Boy, I can't wait till tomorrow when you talk about the Jets, Duke.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out. There's something stinky going on with the Islanders right now for me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the team you take issue with here.
Yeah. But I don't think, I think either, both of them. I don't like the Caps getting in, and I don't like, I'll say the Caps for me first, and then the Islanders would be second to come out for you. Like, well, from what you're saying.
So you're out on both options here.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on both. I mean, the Islanders are what? They're at 89 points.
And
Columbus is at 88.
Every team behind them has at least a game in hand. Ottawa, who can't get into the Metro, obviously, but and neither can Detroit. But they each have 2 games in hand, as does Philly.
So Columbus could overtake the Islanders.
Yes.
In that would be number 3 hole in the Met. So could, as you say, Washington. Yeah, I'm going to be out on both, Duke. I'll say that those. I don't think I'll take my chances on Ottawa rebounding even without the 2 defensemen. That was a kick in the nuts last night. And listen, Detroit, I can't believe they didn't show up last night. So I'm going to go with those 2 teams, Ottawa and Detroit.
Really?
Knocking out the Islanders and knocking out
Columbus.
No, Columbus I got.
There's not enough spots, Kevin.
No, just wait a minute here, Duke.
There's only 2 spots.
No, but I'm saying that you have Washington, and you have Washington going across the line, and then the Islanders
holding their spot.
So you think Washington's going to take out Columbus?
That's right.
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening.
But you're saying Ottawa.
So the Islanders come out for me, and then I'll say one of Detroit or Ottawa. Get into the wild card too.
Not liking what I'm seeing from those, especially Detroit. Basically, this entire second half.
Can't believe it.
They're the fact they're still in it. I think they
going
should be
with my buddy Todd McClellan, dude.
Hey, got to ride with your guys, Kev. Yeah. I can respect that. Team not in the playoff race is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they held a press conference yesterday with CEO Pelly following the firing of Brad Treliving on Monday, and it was a mess on many instances. You talked about it with Spec. There were essentially no positive comments from fans, people that cover the team, really anybody following everything that Pelly had to say yesterday. And it's when you look around the rest of the league, some teams have kind of figured it out and turned a corner in the right direction. I think as of today, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the most in disarray team across the entire National Hockey League.
So, I mean, Vancouver's right there, no? They're a team that's in disarray, no?
I think they have direction. They want to lose. They're bad. They're rebuilding. They at least have their first round pick, which might very well be number 1 overall.
I'm going to go in on this one, Duke. Out of all the things that he said yesterday, Keith Pelly, and the data stuff, whatever. Like, I mean, I didn't understand that too, because everyone says they have a pretty good department there already. I didn't understand that. What I didn't understand was that we, as an organization, did not see the train of Buffalo and Montreal coming.
Right.
That is so stupid and so bad and so inept from an organizational standpoint, from the leader, the number one guy of the organization saying that. How could you not see anything like this happening? Because of, I mean, Buffalo's been on a tear here for months. Montreal's been good. You can see the talent that Montreal's had.
They were a playoff team last year. How do you not? What do you mean you didn't see this coming?
Like, that is just that. You know what that smells of, Duke? That just says the self-entitlement of the Toronto Maple Leafs franchise. We're better than everyone else, and we're not even close to being better than the crappy teams in the league. So I'm in. Yeah, I'll say yeah. Vancouver to me is a close second.
So Vancouver's a close second, because for many years, what do we talk about these teams that were without, like the Sabres obviously top a lot of people's list, and it's crazy that just firing a GM and keeping literally everything else the same somehow made this team open their eyes and become what we've been waiting for them to become for, well, at least the past few years, and you can mix in a few others over the last decade. So after that, I think maybe the Rangers could be. You talk about last year's fallout with all these veteran players that they trade away and kind of hang out in the lurch. And Chris Drury, I don't know if his job is in question, and because they were expected to compete, right? And there they are toiling at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. So a few decent options, but yeah, nothing seems very positive out in Leafland as of this morning.
They stink.
Across the way in Toronto, the Blue Jays, however, they get back in the win column 5-1 yesterday over Colorado. Max Scherzer with a strong debut for the season, going 6 strong, giving up just the 1 earned run. But some tough news following the game previous, where Cody Ponce left with an injury, diagnosed with a sprained ACL, and is expected to miss significant time. No confirmation yet, but there's a chance that his 2 and change innings could be all he sees on the diamond this year.
That's just so sad, isn't it?
It's brutal. I mean, the hopes were high. You feel like it's a feel-good story for a guy getting back to the majors after the time overseas. But if we're looking at replacement options, there's nothing readily available because of all these injured pitchers the Blue Jays currently have ownership of. But if John Schneider is thinking long and hard about this, I think he's better suited just to dip down into Buffalo or elsewhere and fill the 5th starter spot with a minor leaguer rather than spread the gap with bullpen.
Well,
games.
Lazaro Estrada was recalled.
Yes.
Yesterday or last night. You know what's going to happen, Duke, for and again, that's lucky. That I think it's great now that they have that day off on Friday.
All of a sudden, yeah.
Holy cow. But I think that like the 5th game now is going to be a bullpen game. So it could be an Estrada starting. It could be, take your pick on who you think that you want to start. I mean, maybe it's a Spencer Miles who can go a little bit longer. I think for Blue Jays fans, they would take anybody but Brendan Little. But this pitching staff is being tested. When you got Barrios, Bieber, Ponce, and Yusavage out. I mean, they need Yusavage back. He's probably the quickest back, I would think. The quickest back.
And it's unfortunate because we talked about this a week ago.
Yeah.
Saying the benefit of this depth that the Blue Jays have built up in their rotation is that there's no need to rush any of these guys back. Let them take their time and feel at 100%, but all of a sudden that might be not the case anymore.
You know, they got the options that they have. Like everyone's been waiting for Ricky Tiedemann, Duke.
Right.
They picked up Jake Bloss in that trade for Kikuchi. He's hurt too. The other guy is the possibility. Maybe it's the Canadian Adam Mackel. You know, maybe they bring him up as a left. They're going to have to do some roster juggling like you wouldn't believe. Another guy that, you know, sort of got lit up in the World Baseball Classic, I think he's in Buffalo, is Yario Rodriguez. Maybe you know what you have with him. I think he's in Buffalo, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to be in guys that are in the minors. They have nowhere else to go. They got to wait for these guys to get healthy.
And listen, I think at this stage of the season, like it's so early, do you like go into your bullpen every 5th day and expecting them to, as a group, work through it? Are you not better? And it's tough sometimes to basically just feed a minor leaguer to the wolves sometimes, depending on your opponent. But I don't know. Or were they really expecting any of these guys to be impact players right away? It might do some damage confidence-wise, but you give them a turn, regardless of how it goes. Say, all right, thanks. Head back to Buffalo, pull somebody else up, and give them the shot the next time around. Like you said, the roster management is going to be important here. And it's really unfortunate, like you said, feeling bad for a guy like Cody Ponce and the way they shook out. Hopefully he can work his way back and get back into action this season.
Maybe Tyler Heineman starts some games here, Duke.
Ace up there. Also, this is just an aside. We didn't talk about it yesterday. I was not aware of the rule that you could not challenge pitches against a position player.
Isn't it great?
So that was a fun little element that got into the mix.
Well, and the other thing too is that because of where the game is at, I mean, the umpires are saying, "Let's get the hell out of here."
100%.
They're getting calls that are 6 inches outside, or most of the pitches. I'd say they're more either high coming down into the strike zone and miss, than being outside.
Because they're kind of just lobbing them in there, right?
Slow pitch. It's like when you play. This is the Tropicana Orangeman.
Yeah, if I have a strong May with the Tropic slow pitch team once we get going, Duke. Maybe I'll get a look.
Don't even start, Duke. You don't have.
I can platoon with Dalton Varsho.
You do not have the stamina at all after your month of March. You need a break.
Yeah, but I got a month off here.
Nah. Hey, Corey just texted in. What about a guy like Lucas Giolito? Possibly. I mean, they need someone. There's not a whole hell of a lot out there though.
No.
But that's a name that's a guy that's been around. Hasn't been very good though for a while.
April 1st, turning over the calendar to a new month, which of course comes with April Fool's Day. And we've already been at it this morning trying to determine what's real, what's not out there, from mall rat jerseys to Cam Tate heading to the Masters to Speck wanting to take over running the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hate to pick on a guy when he's not here, but I think it's just fitting. If we're looking inside and around the Sports 1440 universe, all of our hosts, our friends of the program, co-hosts, etc., recurring guests, there is nobody more prone to being pranked, having one pulled over his eyes, hoodwinked, than the real deal himself, Eddie Steele.
Sometimes in these questions, in or out, you maybe might say in and only be 85%.
Sure.
Or 90 or 70, whatever it is. This is one of the questions where, it's a slam dunk. It's 100%. I mean, I think about Pete Panotsky last year getting Eddie with the pink penis caps.
Valve stem covered.
Yeah, caps for his valve stems. And Eddie drove around town with them. He said he noticed.
Didn't even take them off.
He liked them. He said he thought that they were
very becoming.
Accentuated his rims, his tires, and everything. But Eddie, it's such an easy target. I mean, we should be doing a little bit more with him.
I agree. And the only example I need for this is from when we golfed and the joke that you told, and he just completely oblivious that there's a punchline coming, and the court of public opinion will have their say about that.
Yeah. One of the top jokes of all time. And then the line at the end. Yeah. Wow. The court of public opinion will have something to say about that.
And you mentioned Pete, obviously pranking Eddie last year with the Valsam covers. But between him and T-Bone, they put that cricket machine or whatever it was in here.
Yeah.
And that drove us nuts for a day.
Yeah. Was that on April Fools?
No, I think they just did that just for fun.
Yeah.
Just for fun. And honestly, Kevin, I wouldn't have had you on this list as prone to prank prone. But after this morning, when you're trying to decipher through athletic articles and stinger releases and you can't figure out which is which, all of a sudden I'm not so sure. Maybe you are very prone to a prank.
So the only thing is this article on The Athletic, if you go down to the comments, Duke, there's nothing.
People are commenting.
People have not said, is this, it's April Fool's, obviously.
Well, because they're probably all Leafs fans and they know it's true.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, what a disgrace. I'm seriously going to have to stop cheering for this team, find another team. There's a long, dark tunnel ahead. Charging a premium experience is one thing. Charging those kinds of prices for fan days, another. Oh, man. And there's all of this. Charging $1,000 for the kid who gets to hold the flag and skate around the ice. So basically, it's just a bunch of entitled kids. Doesn't sit well. There isn't one comment, Duke, that says, and maybe that's Toronto fans. They haven't figured it out either.
Kevin, I'm telling you.
What?
That's real. This is real life.
Toronto fans.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And the things they have to endure.
Did you read the article, Duke?
No.
Did you go through it?
I haven't.
Have a look if you get time during the break. I know you got to do the update. Penny, you can have a look, have a read at it. I just saw MTR has Brendan Little on his fantasy team. Wow. Come on, MTR. Hey, isn't that something?
Great follow-up. Didn't Kevin believe that Stu Skinner, Anthony Mantha quote yesterday?
No, I said
Wake
right
up.
off the bat. I said this can't.
Then why would you read it if you thought it wasn't true?
I just thought it was something to talk about.
Okay, TMZ.
Yeah.
Gossip. Kevin Karius' gossip column.
There was
here.
I saw another post about it following that up. Too.
Yeah, Kevin is just everybody's uncle on Facebook that reposts things. Like, can you believe this is true? And then everyone comes like, no, we can't because it isn't.
You know, I'm just getting gullible in my old age, Duke.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I hear.
Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Oh, that was In or Out brought to you by Pro Solutions. Check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, we will have some open time right off the hop, and then we'll head to Philadelphia and talk to Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News. We'll get her thoughts on where the Flyers are. Duke doesn't think they're going to make the playoffs. He's taken Washington over them, so we'll see what she thinks when we come back. But before that time now, for a Sports 1440 update, brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunications, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Three-game slate in the NHL tonight. The lowly Canucks head to Mile High to take on the Colorado Avalanche. Avs will be without leading defenseman Cale Makar, as he's expected to miss several games due to injury. Kings hosting the Blues, and also on the West Coast, the Anaheim Ducks are in NorCal against the Sharks. Edmonton Oil Kings look to bounce back. Game number 4 tonight in Saskatoon against the Blades, trailing Saskatoon 2-1 in their first round of playoff matchup. Puck drop coming at 7 o'clock. And in the Association, Raptors on the second half of a back-to-back. They host the Sacramento Kings at Scotiabank Arena. Tip-off just after 6. Elsewhere, Orlando taking on Atlanta. Phillies in Washington. Bulls play Indiana. Denver in Utah. And Golden State playing Wemby and the Spurs in the nightcap. Across the majors today, lots of early games getting going, including the Blue Jays finalizing their series against Colorado. First pitch just after 11 o'clock. It'll be Kevin Gosselin on the bump. Elsewhere, Braves and Athletics about to get underway, coming up at 10:30. Orioles hosting the Rangers. Pirates are in Cincinnati. And later on, Mets taking on the Cardinals. D-backs up against the Tigers. And the Yankees conclude their series in Seattle against the Mariners. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News covering the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Country. Your seat is closer than you think. Starting at just $28 a week with a deposit-free payment plan available. Securing your full, half, and quarter season seats inside Rogers Place for the 2026-27 season has never been easier. Sign up for pre-sale access at edmontonoilers.com/season seats. Experience all that Rogers Place has to offer during an Oilers game night by visiting edmontonoilers.com/season seats.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers The Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling sucks. Yeah, Legacy can now suck your ducts with professional duct cleaning, furnace cleaning, and dryer vent cleaning.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
When you need the filth sucked from your air ducts.
Call Legacy.
When you want cleaner air for your family.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Legacy now offers air duct cleaning. Book in today. Just call Legacy.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Ride for Dad is back. Join Sports 1440 as we help raise funds and awareness for the fight against prostate cancer. The ride starts Saturday, June 13th at Blackjack's Roadhouse. Register online at ridefordad.ca and find more info at sports1440.com.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
Oh, all right. Welcome back to the big program. April Fool's Day. Apparently everyone's pulling the wool over the eyes here at Sports 1440, Duke. Good song, though. Have you guys ever done, nothing to the extent of Pete Panotsky and Eddie? Maybe you and Josh have done something or had something done to you?
My dad used to always try and prank us when I was growing up, and usually they were about as quickly built as you could imagine. He would just wake us up for you come into the bedroom getting ready for school. Like, all right. He's like, you'll never believe it. This one of the name of horrors, Ginger had a baby. It's like, no, Dad, how's that even possible? No, we know that didn't happen.
So you would go out to the barn and look.
That's what he would want. He'd want us to come running down the hill, and maybe that did work on us when we were so little that I can't remember, but he would keep up the same thing. Or oh, this dog had puppies. We're like, well, then we know that can't happen. The dog's fixed. And anyway, so those would be his things. He always used to joke that he was going to replace our cereal with dog food. So I don't know if that was more of a mental game that we would always be on the lookout that he would, but I don't recall him ever actually doing it.
Yeah. Joshy boy, anything that you got pulled on you, or?
I mean, I'm sure I've had tons of stuff pulled on me. Anything of significance, I can't remember. However, this would have been 2 years ago at the old brew house in Sherwood Park. I was working on April Fool's Day. We have this regular that I really didn't like. And he was saying something or whatever. And I just decided, you know what, let's see what I can say to him. So I told him I was married and had kids. And to this day, he still thinks that I am married with children. He has no idea how old I am. And anytime I was gone, he would ask our coworkers, oh, like, Josh take the family with him? And they're like, yep. Because I told them, I was like, guys, let's just see how long we can keep this going. And now anytime I go in there and he's there, be like, oh, how are the Yunnins? I'm like, oh, they're just fantastic.
You know, speaking of the cereal, Duke, I had a buddy, Kurt Wolf, that added a box of Meow Mix to Nuts and Bolts for a team party back in the day. Nobody noticed. It wasn't April. No, I mean, guys are bomb. They're just shoveling their faces with Nuts and Bolts and the odd, well, not the odd, like same amount of Meow Mix. Yes. Hey, when we come back, we're going to head to Philadelphia. Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News. The Flyers lost a tough one, 6-4 to Washington, and the Duke figures that Washington has what it takes to make the jump in the Eastern Conference standings. This despite Washington at 75 games, 85 points. Philadelphia, a game in hand and a point ahead. The Duke likes the Caps. Maybe he likes that goal differential at plus 15. Also likes Ovi. And again, another milestone for Ovi. Ovi's got how many consecutive?
Well, it's not consecutive, I think, because of the COVID years, but he just registered his 20th 30-goal season.
So that's
which I guess that would be consecutive because that's every year he's played in the league. Yeah. 05-06 was his first year.
Yeah, that's 600 goals right there, Duke.
Well, I think Frank was the one that put the tweet out last night that said if you only count the goals like his just capping it at 30 each year, I think he'd still be 23rd in the all-time list. And we know he's obviously, topped 50 how many times and 60. So yeah, it just the legend grows and continues. The consistency is incredible.
Think he comes back next year?
I actually don't. So that's something the Caps are gonna try and go out on top for him.
Well, there you go. When we come back, Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio, presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At Cougar Paint and Collision, family incorporates everyone.
I mean, the staff at Cougar are the cogs in the wheel. If you've got one or two wheels that aren't rolling with the other one, then you're not going to have a smooth operation. Everybody that we have at the shop really enables us to continue to help Edmontonians. We just try and help people get their cars back on the road, and it's the people that work for you that are going to allow you to be successful.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
As we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season, GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at CustomFloorsInc.ca.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the VLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the center bar. Plus, catch all the biggest games, every goal, every slam dunk. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
Program 1021 in Edmonton. Time to talk a little Philadelphia Flyers hockey with Siobhan Nolan out of Philly from the Hockey News. Good morning, Siobhan. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, how was that game last night? A 6-4 loss to Washington, and also the NHL debut of Porter Martone.
Yeah, the game itself obviously was not their best showing, which is kind of disappointing after they've had such a good run recently, which I don't think anyone was really expecting them to have as productive of a stretch as they did. But it was great to see Martone, make his NHL debut. It's really great that he had such a fast turnaround after signing his contract. When he was participating in practice the day before, and he was, just making it very clear that he was ready to go. He felt good. He felt strong. He felt prepared to take on, an NHL workload as he joins the playoff push. So it's going to be really exciting to see him in this last stretch of games in the season. And, who knows, maybe he'll have some playoff experience by the end of it.
Yeah. What do you think your expectations are for, a young guy still, 19 years old, came from Michigan State and had a lot of time in the OHL, but he's such a big body. He can, I'm sure you think that he can handle, the physical pace of play that he's going to see here down the stretch in the NHL.
Yeah, for sure. When he was at Michigan State, he said he went from 198 pounds to I think like 210 pounds. So he gained a lot of muscle there. He lost some body fat as well. So he was really focusing on that strength training and building up that muscle, which was really promising. And you can see it too, like just seeing him at the draft versus recently, like you can tell that he's put on a lot of muscle. And, he's got that 6'3" frame. So he's filled out pretty well, which is good to see. I think we're going to get a good sample of him. I know people are very excited and they have a lot of expectations, but I think it's important to know that he's got, like less than 10 games now, I think. So, he's still going to be adjusting and getting used to it. So I think it's going to be a good showing for him, but definitely need to temper the expectations a little bit because it's not, that many games as versus if he, was over earlier in the season.
Were you surprised, Siobhan, that he saw a fair bit of time on the power play last night?
Not super surprised. Maybe in his first game, I wasn't, thinking that he would get as much time, but Rick Tocchet said that he was going to be on the first power play unit, and that's one of the reasons that they really like him so much is because he can fill out that like power play time. So I wasn't expecting him to get that much time, but it's promising to see that they trust him so much with that kind of responsibility in literally his first NHL game.
Yeah. Was the power play dangerous? I know it went 0 for 3 last night, but did they have some looks last night, Siobhan?
Yeah, they did have some good chances, and lately, in general, they've just been having a lot more production on the power play, which is nice to see. It's still not exactly where they want it to be. I think it's still last or close to last in the league. So obviously not what you want to see, but they're getting in front of the net more. They're being a lot more aggressive with their chances. They're moving the puck around a lot more. So it's not perfect. And I think it is going to take some time to really get it to where they want to be, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
And did he see most of his 5-on-5 play with Konechny and Dvorak last night?
Yeah, he was mostly on that line, which I think is great. He's got two very good veterans there. Dvorak's been great at the center, and Konechny, he's effective no matter what wing you put him on. So I think that was a good line to start him out on. As time goes on, you can try him out with maybe some of the younger guys like Barkey or even Zegras, but I think to start him out, to have him with those more veteran players is definitely the way to go.
Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News covers the Philadelphia Flyers, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. Don't have to tell you how good Dan Vladar's been. We saw him here for so many years when he was in Calgary. Siobhan, was it just maybe an off night for him last night, or what did you think?
Yeah, that was a pretty uncharacteristic performance for Vladar from what we've seen from him. He's been rock solid for the Flyers in net, and he's such a professional on and off the ice. I think it's just, the workload might have gotten to him a little bit. I think this season is the most games he's ever played in one season, and he's shouldered a lot of, multiple games in a row. So I think it was just an off night. If you look at what he's done over the course of the season, he's been huge. He's kept the Flyers in a lot of games. So it sucks to see, but I do think that this is just kind of like a one-off for him.
Yeah. And when you look at the top guys, in scoring with Konechny and Zegras up top, have they been showing the way all year, or do you see them coming on in the last little stretch of 10 games where the Flyers were really good and got themselves back into the race here?
Yeah, I mean, Konechny's always a sure thing for the Flyers. Over the past, several seasons, he's been the points leader. He's been the reliable guy for offense. And it's great to see Trevor Zegras already feeling so comfortable that he's up there as well. So, yeah, a lot of the offense does go through them. We've been seeing a lot more depth offense from the Flyers, though, which is really promising to see. But, yeah, it's one of those things where I think guys just, might have been fatigue or, might have just been an off night. But for the most part, those two are definitely like the big drivers for the offense.
Well, you've seen Sean Couturier there a long, long time, Siobhan, in the sense that this is one of the veteran players on this team. He's not a young guy anymore, into his early 30s. Have you seen his game taper off here this year, or where do you see what he's been contributing to this Flyers club down the stretch?
Yeah, lately he's been scoring a little more, which is cool to see. But I think there's an understanding that, he's still very much the captain. He's still a very respected voice in that room. But I think he understands and the team understands that they're moving in a younger direction. And guys like Couturier are very important for guiding those young players and showing them what it means to be a Flyer and what it means to kind of play the way that they want to play. So he's very important still in that regard. But I think there is an understanding there that his role has shrunken a little bit. It's not what it used to be. And Couturier will be the first to tell you that his game is not what it used to be just because of age. And he had that really nasty back injury a little while back. So that changed a lot of things for him. So he's still a very important figure in the room. But in terms of actual game impact, I think there's kind of a mutual understanding that he's kind of passing the torch a little bit.
His contract goes till 2030 at 7.75. No movement for another 3 more years after this season. What's the future hold for this guy in Philly?
Yeah, that people love to talk about that contract and they love to criticize that contract, which I think is a fair assessment, considering the move that Danny Briere has made to kind of really help this rebuild along. I think, unfortunately, we're going to kind of see a more gradual tapering off of his role. He's kind of been taking on like a bottom 6 role right now, and I think that's going to kind of be where he stays in the future. He's a guy experienced enough where he can slot in wherever you need him in the lineup, but I do think that he understands that he's getting older and they have a lot of young guys ready to go. So it's going to be kind of a gradual, just passing off the torch and responsibilities to, other players on the team.
Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News covers the Philadelphia Flyers, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. So what does Daniel Briere do with Trevor Zegras, who we mentioned, and you said between Konechny and Zegras, they've always kind of been the guys with the Flyers for the last few years. But, in that sense that he's an RFA for 2 more years before he becomes a UFA, is there something long-term in the works between Briere and the Zegras camp here?
Yeah, I've heard that it's something that they're definitely getting started on. I don't think anything's too set in stone yet for them, but it's when you talk to Trevor Zegras, he makes no bones about how much he loves it in Philly. He loves being on this team. He loves the fans, and you can tell just by his personality and the way that he's playing that he's very comfortable here. He's really found a home here, which is really great to see after, he was kind of struggling a little bit in Anaheim. So I think they're taking their time with him. I don't think they're going to try to rush any sort of extension with him because, it's clear that he wants to be here and he wants to, have his future be in Philly. So I wouldn't be surprised if, something gets done soon, but I don't think that they're going to try to rush that too much.
Does Jamie Drysdale fall into that same category a little bit too, Siobhan?
Oh, absolutely. It's really been great to see Drysdale flourish as much as he has this year, because before people were a little not convinced on him quite yet. And, just to see him really blossom into this very mature defenseman, he still has that great offensive defenseman mentality and tendencies, but he's just really grown and become a lot more well-rounded in his game. So I think he's finally finding his footing there. And, he is a very respected voice in that room too for being such a young guy. Rick Tocchet has said that he's gotten up on the bench and he's kind of fired guys up. So I think it's maybe taken a little longer for Jamie Drysdale, but this season, I think you really see him grow into his potential, and he's really becoming the player that Daniel Briere saw when he first traded for him.
What's it been like for you and I guess other members of the media in Philly to deal with Rick Tocchet here? Siobhan is it's as straight of a shooter as you get.
Yeah, it's definitely a change after Torts. I'll say that much, and I think that would have been true no matter who the new coach ended up being. But Tocchet's been great. He gives very thoughtful, analytical answers. You can tell that he's very much a former player. So that's really cool to get that detail and analysis about what he sees about the game and he sees in his players. And it's really cool to see just how he interacts with the media and the fans because he's a former Flyer. He understands what it means to play in this city. So he brings that different perspective. And he's just like the nicest guy you could ever ask for. He's like super chill. When you ask him questions in a press conference, you just kind of feel like you're having a conversation with him, which is nice. So very approachable, very cool, down to earth. So it's been great to talk with him.
Hey, what do you make of this Flyers schedule? I mean, so many games against teams that are in the playoffs or just on the outside looking in, starting with Detroit in Philly tomorrow.
Yeah, they've got a gauntlet for sure. But they are treating every game like a playoff game already. That's the mentality that they have. And, they're very serious about, like, we can play with any team, we can beat any team, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter how good they are. So it's definitely going to be tiring, and it's going to be interesting to see, since a lot of these players haven't experienced playoff hockey before. So this is their first kind of, experience of going through a push like this, but, they want it. They're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely going to see some good fights in there.
What do you like when you look at last night's game with Washington? Detroit's right in here. Ottawa, stumbled last night. It's almost like if some team can win 3 out of 4, that would solidify a spot here. Maybe just a thought on the rest of the teams that are gunning for, limited playoff positions.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see, because the Flyers do have to do some scoreboard watching. They do kind of have to depend on other teams to slip a little. But, it really feels like anybody's race right now. It really feels like, you're not guaranteed a spot, because someone could slip up or someone could pull off some sort of upset. So it's definitely a little anxiety inducing just to watch the teams and how the standings move around, but it's an entertaining race for sure.
What's the general feeling just in the city of Philadelphia here, Siobhan, with the Flyers, and sort of a retooling, not a total rebuild, but something kind of in the middle with more tone and some other, really good young players coming in here. What's the feeling just within the fan base where the organization is headed?
People definitely are getting a little impatient. The fans want playoff hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, when fans get impatient like that, and especially in a place like Philly, it definitely gets a little hostile and people get a little reactive. But I think in general, they see Zegras, they see Martone, even, Michkov and Barkey and Alex Bump, like they see that young talent and they recognize what the Flyers have at their disposal. So I think generally it's excitement, and because they know how good of a roster they've really put together, they have higher expectations, and maybe that's kind of like, skewing the view a little bit because they know how much talent they have. But I think in general, the fans are more optimistic about the team than they've been in a long time, which is really nice to see.
You mentioned Matvei Michkov here, Siobhan, and we hear the outside noise here in Edmonton, and you hear things, across the league, players unhappy, happy, or whatever. What do you think he's going through right now? Even like a guy like Porter Martone comes here into the top 6 and maybe moves Michkov down the rung a little bit here.
Yeah, Michkov, it's a very interesting thing because he has had a little bit of a slump this season. He's gone through that sophomore slump, and, he's had the drama with Rick Tocchet and the out of shape stuff and, all that. And I think with Michkov, you just kind of have to, he has to find his game again. He has to find good line mates to play with. He's just kind of got to find himself again, because last season he had a really good breakout season, and you could see that personality and you could see that drive that made him so appealing to the Flyers. But, as they're going through this retool and the new coach and everything, he's still in a little bit of an adjustment period. So, once he finds that good fit for him, I think we'll really see the Matvei Michkov that we know and love.
Hey, this has been great. Thanks very much for coming on, Siobhan. Really appreciate it. Enjoy tomorrow's game against Detroit. And I guess it's 3 and 4 nights for the Flyers here. We might know a little bit more where they are headed in the playoff direction by the end of the weekend. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
That's Siobhan Nolan from the Hockey News, covers the Philadelphia Flyers. And right now in the Eastern Conference standings, it's anybody's game. Washington, it's at 85 points. Philadelphia, 86. Detroit, 86. 86 for Ottawa. Columbus is at 88. New York Islanders are at 89. What are we going to see? Who are we going to see in? Who do you want to see in? You never know. One thing we do know, the Toronto Maple Leafs are out. And that says a great text here from the Gum King. I don't know if you saw it, Duke. Newsflash, Toronto Maple Leafs have just acquired 2 young Russian players. Their names are Igor Samarov and Vladimir Tiov. Summer off and tee off. Text 833-401-1440. We'll get to some of them when we come back to close things off on the Kevin Karius Show. Maybe we'll talk a little basketball, a little curling. I see Canada's up on the Swiss 4-3 in the sixth end. Duke's dropping his headset. Has no sniff over there. What's going on? But we'll wrap up the show when we come back. On Sports 1440 AM radio, presented by Sports Select. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
When my husband and I said until death do us part, I never expected to find myself at the doorstep of divorce. I was facing an uncertain financial future, expensive lawyer bills, and most importantly, I was concerned for the well-being of my kids. My spouse and I turned to Fairway Divorce Solutions for help. Fairway walked us through a step-by-step process, allowing us to develop a clear roadmap to resolve financial concerns and provide a proactive co-parenting strategy. It helped us avoid chaos and courtrooms.
For a no-cost consultation, visit fairwaydivorce.com.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
The WHL playoffs return to Rogers Place for Game 5. Family fun that's second to none, starting at just $20 a seat.
This Friday at 6, your Edmonton Oil Kings look for a critical win versus the Saskatoon Blades in the 5th game of their first-round series.
Plus, at every playoff home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king size.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Saskatoon Blades. WHL playoffs, round 1.
Game 5, this Friday evening at 6.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20. Save on day-of-game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
All this month, you can get in the swing of spring with Pot for Dough at Nisku Ford. Shop amazing deals on their entire in-stock inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. You're sure to find the perfect ride. Then, with every vehicle purchase, you'll get your turn to Pot for Dough. Just sink your putt to win fantastic prizes like gas cards, big screen TVs, Blackstone griddles, and more. See dealer for full details. Find your new ride at niskuford.ca. Above expectations.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10:44 in Edmonton. Home stretch of the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick, presented by Sports Select. We've got the QR codes. We've got the paper selection slips. We've got NCAA Final Four basketball this weekend. Man, you can bet on it all. Can you bet on curling, Duke, the World Curling Championship, anywhere?
Well, you know what? Well, yeah, there are places.
Yeah, but not on Sports Select. I'm
going to look.
Yeah.
I'm going to see.
Anyway.
Hey, Sports Select's got a full arsenal here. The whole tab, it says all sports.
Canada's leading Switzerland 6-3. Matt Dunstone in Utah. So check it out at sportselect.com. It's 100% legal. You got to be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Text 833-401-1440 as we wrap up the show. The Fog. Oh, you can't get a better name than that. Hey, KK, I sent you a text a couple of weeks ago about Ingram extension, about an Ingram extension. Possibly matching the Skinner kind of contract, what he would be getting. I don't know. I'm sort of mistyped here. If we don't get Ingram under contract soon, we'd have a run in the playoffs, and we have a run in the playoffs. His hit's going to be $5 million a year instead of 3 or so. Your thoughts? And I replied, and I'm going to say this too, Fog, and I just don't know right now because of what the situation is with Tristan Jarry at $5.2 million. And I said, yeah, man, I see your point. If the Oilers go on a deep run again, because here's the one thing. What goaltenders are out there? What goalies are out there that you want to sign? People think that they can trade for goalies just like that. Doesn't happen. Everyone's like, oh, Sorokin will come, this and that. Bobrovsky. These guys aren't coming here. They don't want to come here. Bobrovsky loves it in Florida. He's not going anywhere. Sorokin loves it on the island. Not going anywhere. Fog can text it back. He says, I'm not an expert in goaltending, although I did play in the Western League for 2 years. Attaboy, Fog. Remember this text in the future. Have a great day. Love your shows. Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to maybe just wait and see. Maybe it falls into the Jack Roslovic category. When you think about what's available moving forward. I mean, the Oilers like Roslovic. He likes playing here. Jarry, who knows what's going to, that's a $5.2 million hit. Before this year, it was almost, I believe, buyout proof because of bonuses and things like that. And that's just the simple reality of it. Tristan Jarry on a buyout because of his bonuses and how they're structured and base salary. And I misspoke too. It's actually 5.375. Man, a buyout on the Jarry contract goes through. What am I looking at, Duke? Why can't I find this on Puckpedia? Used to be so easy. I got it now. Again, his base salary is at 1.125 for next year's. Salary for base is 27. On 27-28, it's 1.6. The signing bonus has come into play here. Buyout for a cap for him would be it's almost buyout proof for the next 2 years. It's at 4.7 and 4.2. And then it carries on for $500,000 in 28-29 and 29-30. So those are tough numbers. I mean, you still got Jack Campbell, for Pete's sake. So to the point of the Fog, I think they got to just wait and see. I think they just got to wait and see. I just said this. Craig and Red Deer, he said, you're not buying out. He's got 2 years left. I just said that, Craig. It's buyout proof is what it is. Because, again, the salary on a buyout is about the same as what you're paying him. Brew Crew says, great show in the morning, guys. Well produced, great guests. Kevin, you're a great listen. Thanks, Brew Crew. Appreciate it. He even said, well produced, Duke.
He probably threw that in there, throw me a bone. Well, what if he immediately texts back and says April Fools?
Yeah, you never know. So, what's the cutoff? Is it like 10 o'clock for April Fool's Day?
I thought growing up, like in school and stuff, they would say noon. Am I out to lunch there, Josh? He's kind of nodding along. Yeah. So, I always recall noon is the cutoff. And then after that, people get mad if you tried to prank them or something. But what if it's a long prank? Like, what if you need the morning just as the setup and the tee up, and then, the actual prank itself gets executed post lunchtime? I'm not much of a prankster, so I don't really know. I'm not like you, Kevin.
Wow. Did I ever tell you the one prank that I pulled on the old baker or not?
Saran wrap across the toilet?
No, but I did that, dude. I did that to a girlfriend way earlier in my career of pranks. What are you laughing at, Josh?
He's a career prankster.
But this was several years ago, and it's all on video because I recorded it on my iPad. But this took...
I'm sure that was subtle. He just walking around carrying...
No, I had it set up in the corner. I had it set up in the corner.
Kevin, I'm impressed.
Yeah, and I had it on record, and she had to walk into frame and everything. But this was... what it was, guys, was... she got me to put her sticker on the license plate. You know how you used to have to do that? And you don't do it anymore. So here's what happened. I put it on a little bit crooked, and she was so disgusted with me that she went and bought a one of those heater guns,
a heat gun.
Yeah, heat gun, and that's how she got it off. And then she bought another one, and she put it on herself, but it cost her probably cost her $60
to get another sticker.
Yeah, with the gun and everything, right?
Oh,
so that's how she had to get it, had to do it. So anyway, I got a girl at work, Nicole DeChamplain, who was just fabulous when I was working at Global. And I had an old speeding ticket that I still had it. And she changed all the fonts and made it all perfect. And she said, she charged it was a ticket for sticker on wrong side of the plate. And then I had it in an envelope and I put it under the door, and I said, this was in room 30 or apartment 309. It came to my wrong mailbox, and it's yours because it's under Laura's name. So she opened it up, but it was 15 minutes of video, Duke. It's one of the best. It's priceless, this video.
Is this available somewhere?
Yes, I've got it. Oh, I've still got it.
No, but I was just wondering if you ever put it out there for other people to see, or is this just your own entertainment?
No, I mean, I think a lot of people have seen it. It's very entertaining. A few texts saying in about Jari. Again, this is something to cross this bridge next year. They're talking about sending to the minors, this and that. Greater Man Jay, this is probably it here. We got to make a player, got to make a goalie out of Jari. Can't go through another Jack Campbell incident. So this is down the road. Right now, top of mind is the stretch run. Figure out where you finish. If Connor Ingram plays in the playoffs like he's playing now, I think the Oilers are just tickled pink. Tickled pink. Well, Duke, it's Wednesday. Do we got Laddie coming in tomorrow from Czech or not?
We'll see. I'm going to drop him a line here right after the show.
I think he said only a couple weeks, and then he was busy.
Then he was kind of busy again. Yeah. But I'll drop him a line. I always put the tail to the message saying, listen, if you're busy, don't feel obligated. We know you got a lot going on, but if you're free, we'd obviously love to catch up with you. So I'll touch in, see how things are going, and we'll figure it out.
What do you got for the Jays today? So we got Gosman and Freeland.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he can't do much better than Gosman did in his season opener, obviously, against the Athletics. So I expect him to have another good day. I think the Jays win. I'd be looking at him to cover a run line, 1.5, which is probably not even great odds still, but probably like minus 120, 125 maybe. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be on while Fantasy Frenzy's rocking and rolling here in the studio. Can't beat it.
Just put my score in for the Baker Pool, 6-3 Jays, Duke. What do you think of that?
Anyone homer?
We just do the score.
Yeah, I'm just asking you.
Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero's going to homer finally.
He's going to rope one out
he's
there.
Been slow. He's been slow, hasn't he? He's just slow starter. Then tomorrow it's Dylan Cease and Sean Burke. What do you think of them apples?
Well, we talked about it last week. The Jays get a pretty favorable schedule to start here, and we know they weren't going to win all of them. The loss to Colorado today speaks to that, but I think they can rattle off a few more here against Chicago.
Should be able to. I mean, I'll tell you what, the way the Yankees are throwing the ball scares the bejesus out of everyone. What was
They're looking
another
good. Another shutout last night.
Well, Max Fried. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Is that your
fried,
guy?
Yeah, picked him up again.
Little fried Max?
Yeah, a little. Yeah, loaf of bread had my buddy took Logan Gilbert ahead of him. And I just said, thank you very much.
I have Gilbert, but he was not taken ahead of Max Fried.
No one would pick the only loaf of bread head with a dumb mistake. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Roshep T-Bird.
Connor Halley and the Duke of Delburne. At 12 o'clock, it's the Lowdown with Ellen Mitchell. 2 to 6, Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger Show. We got Fox Sports all night long. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 bells to wrap up a shorter work week before Good Friday. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for all the great texts. Really appreciate you being a part of the show and all the great interaction. We could not do it without you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 o'clock to wrap up the work week. Before all that, until then, here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Three-game slate in the NHL tonight. Canucks in Mile High to take on the Avalanche. Colorado are going to be without top defenseman Cale Makar. He expected to miss a couple games due to injury. St. Louis is in LA, and Anaheim heads up the coast to take on the Sharks in the nightcap. Edmonton Oil Kings continue their playoff series in Saskatoon, looking to bounce back against the Blades. They trail 2-1 in the best of 7. Puck drop 7 o'clock from the SaskTel Center, and some signings across the NHL. Players coming out of college. Chicago Blackhawks thinking goaltender Adam Gayon to a 2-year deal with a cap of just over $1 million. And last year's 10th overall pick, Roger McQueen, signing an amateur tryout offer with the Anaheim Ducks AHL affiliate San Diego Gulls. In the association tonight, full slate, including the Raptors' second half of a back-to-back. They host Sacramento tonight for a 6 o'clock tip-off from Scotiabank Arena. Elsewhere, Orlando taking on Atlanta. Phillies in Washington. Boston plays Miami. Houston hosting Milwaukee, and San Antonio heads north to Golden State. In the majors, some games already underway. Blue Jays set to first pitch just after the top of the hour. Kevin Gausman on the bump for Toronto. The rubber match against the Rockies. Elsewhere, Braves already up 2-0 on the Athletics in the bottom of the second. Scores between the Rangers and Orioles in the bottom 2. And bottom 1, Pirates up 3-0 on the Reds. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall.